Can the West Tigers continue their winning streak as they take on the St George Illawarra Dragons live and loud on the big screen this Sunday, 1st of May? Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Now, the ambush, they're back at West Ashfield for this game, and they're giving away exciting prizes. So West Ashfield will be offering half price beer and pizza until half time. Terms and conditions apply, selected beers only, and West Ashfield practices the responsible service of alcohol. Drink responsibly. West Ashfield is home of the West Tigers. West Ashfield are at 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. For more information, visit West Ashfield at www.westashfield.com.au or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. Welcome to another episode of the West Life podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. We are sponsored by West Ashfield, the best place to watch the game live and loud. And as you just heard in the little intro ad there's a big event with the ambush next Sunday as we take on the St George Illawarra Dragons. And we are also sponsored by MG Pump Solutions. Big Shane's on the show with us tonight again. And give us a follow at Westlife Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And support us and take part in the show, patreon.com/Westlife. Just like one of our hosts, he's one of the OGs of one of those as well. And then subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you're watching us on the live stream right now through YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, head to one of the other ones. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. The show is growing and growing. It's amazing what a win will do. We charted last week. We were the only NRL team podcast in the iTunes Apple Podcast charts last week. A very specific record, boys, but we'll take it. So we've got three co-hosts tonight. I thought we won 2 in a row. We're absolutely on fire. The team's on fire. We're on fire too. The show's on fire. Everything West Tigers is on fire. So you can keep that cliche going. Let's go to Aaron. I kept going to you last week. Our Patreon OG. How are you going, mates, tonight? Still buzzing from Saturday. I think all 4 of us were actually at the game, which has never happened before. But where were you sitting? How did you celebrate? And how were you going off stupidly like the other 3 of us?
Yep, I was going off absolutely ballistic. The trip home in particular is a lot better after a win, seeing as it's like a 3.5-hour drive. So my seat is in the top section, bay 215, so right in the middle of the field. And my seat is 10 rows back, right on the halfway line, so I have a good view of the whole field. I had a Tiger supporter on my left. I was chatting to him throughout the game. We became mates for that one. That was good fun. And the best part was we had this little foghorn of a Rabbits fan. I'd say it was maybe 8, 9, maybe 10 years old at most, and he was going off like an absolute idiot at times, especially when the Rabbits scored. He had a few particular swear words directed at the Tigers after the Rabbits' second try. So it was very nice to get that one over him. His mum.
8 years old. You said 8 years old, yeah?
Yeah, somewhere around 8 to 10 probably. And his mum was just sitting beside him, just letting him go.
That
was interesting. But
I was sitting next to the big fella up in top right of your screen, Shane from MG Pump Solutions. Safe to say we were pretty happy. And we got recognised. The guy behind us asked if we were from the West Tigers podcast. We said no, we're from the other podcast. We're from the West Life podcast. Because he goes, yeah, I recognise your voice. But that was still pretty cool to get recognised as the other guys. But Shane, how good was it Saturday night? I'm still so friggin' pumped.
Look, you can't beat a win. We were the best team, hands down. To be honest, we bombed 4 tries. Like, we should have been 4 tries up, and we should have absolutely pumped them. Our forwards were excellent. They laid the path, and man, I was just I couldn't believe it. Look, had a heart attack at a few times, especially Noffa throwing that ball back. I was just like, of course, here we go. This is like, I just was looking for just a Tigers implosion. And it never came. The boys kept fighting for 80 minutes. This is 2 80-minute performances we've seen in a row, which, let's be honest, boys, have we seen that before? I don't think we have. That was 2 full 80-minute performances, and they were gutsy wins, both of them. And you know what? They fought to the end. They got the win.
Absolutely. And Rob, I left you for last because it was your first time ever at Bankwest Stadium. On this show, you said over and over again that you refused to go there. You'll never ever go there. Shane and I, we got into you last week, said, look, we're probably not going to go back there next year. The contract's done. Doesn't matter. Don't have to vote with your feet anymore. The club's more than likely, almost certainly, to not play home games there next year. How was your first experience at CommBank Stadium?
Yeah, look, I have to thank you for that, Josh. You put a lot of pressure on me and you made a lot of sense that we weren't going to be there next year. So I thought I'm not going to influence where our home games are played. Having been there, what an experience. It's a beautiful ground. I'm still dead against taking games there against Parramatta, our home games, with their crowd there. But yeah, beautiful ground. Obviously, I've got sport. My uncle was one of the sponsors there, so was in suite 306 with the food and the drinks all night. But the dessert was the win at the end, and what a win it was. It was a really great game by both teams. Very befitting of the Anzac spirit. Both teams lost a couple of players during the game. It was gutsy from both teams, and boy, when Brooksy got that field goal, yeah, I had a bit of a psychotic episode the last minute, which I posted on Twitter. But yeah, it was great to get the win, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, the space of 6 days. I think I'm the only one here, not bragging, but I think I was the only one that was at Monday and Saturday last week. And I can't think, not for a while anyway, of 2 back-to-back games where we come up in the clutch. Because as Shane kind of said before, West Tigers don't normally win those, and to win 2 in a row, it almost feels like we've spun the number up in roulette twice in a row. Like, it's just, the balls, the rugby, as Dan Gannay said last week when we won, the rugby league gods finally shining on us. So, man, I'm still just, and to beat, they're actually my 2 most hated teams too. I can't stand either fan bases or franchises. And Aaron's mate sitting next to him kind of symbolizes why. But anyway, sucking into the Bunnies, sucking into the Eels, and looking forward to the Dragons this week. So across the other grades this week, so our Cup side and our Flegg side, they played at Lickham Oval yesterday. Our Cup guys got flogged again. They lost 34-4 to the Rabbitohs. But our young Flegg boys, they got it done 22-14. Henry O'Kane getting a double. And in SG Ball, obviously those seasons, Balmain and West seasons are finished there. The grand final there will be Roosters Panthers next week. But in the Harold Matts, the Mighty Magpies, they won 20-16. They beat the Raiders to make the grand final. So if you want to support our young Maggies juniors, they're playing the Sharks at 12:45 at CommBank Stadium this Saturday. So that's get out and support these guys, because fingers crossed, by the sounds of it, there's a few stars of the future in there as well. And our Tarsha Gale girls, they won 26-14 against the Panthers in Camden. And then the Harvey Norman girls, I totally forgot to add their result in there. I'll open up New South Wales Rugby League.
I think they won 16-10.
Yeah, 16-10.
I think that sounds
and that was
about
the game
right.
before.
I think I remember reading that and just haven't written it down. 16-10. That's right. The New South Wales app says the match is in progress, but we saw them literally walking out. They played before the game Saturday night. For some reason, it says it's only 65 minutes gone. Maybe someone left their job early, whoever was running the live stream, the live updates on that game. But 16-10 was a result, I'll take your word for it. So good luck, well done to the girls, both girls teams getting the win there. So we'll go player by player like we have previous weeks as I bring up the stats. Actually, why don't we go through? I'll go through the team stats first. So I might even share it on the screen. Bear with me, boys. Any thoughts? Shane? Any thoughts on the Magpies juniors? Good signs for the future and what Sheensy's putting in place.
Yeah, well, we saw it last year as well with the flag team. They were undefeated. Most of that team has stepped up, like we were saying last week. They've stepped up to the KO Cup, whatever it is, New South Wales Cup. So, look, I think they've got to have a year up there, get used to the intensity because they were sort of playing kids against kids, and now a lot of the kids they're going up against men. And look, they are getting beaten, but a few of the games I've watched, they've come up close, and you know what? They're gonna be better for it, and we are going to be better for it. So, yeah, just hopefully we can get those boys ready, and we've got some players coming up through reserve grades and the lower grades that we can pretty much hang on to in the future because we seem to let go of a lot of the good boys. So we're getting some good signs. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're laying the platform to keep them.
That's it. They're holding on to him is going to be the key. But yeah, either way, it's pretty cool. Apparently, the Magpies haven't had a team in a grand final for 20 years or something. It was like a couple of decades, like early 2000s, I think, the last time that any Magpies team has made a grand final, which is pretty cool. Or maybe Magpies Junior. I think the Magpies Cup team made the grand final a few years ago, didn't they? When we were still Magpies. Anyone?
Not sure, Josh.
Yeah. Anyway,
sure on that.
Back on first grade. So I thought, I'll bring up the stats here because the team stats, boys, we absolutely a 1 point win, but statistically, we were just such a better side. And you and I were saying to each other, Shane, at the game, that if we lose this, like after just being much better team. Look at this. So 57% possession, 33 minutes to 24. That completion rate. Oh my God. Like 95%. That has the West
When do we
Tigers,
do that? When do we do that?
That has to be a West Tigers record. 46 out of 48. Like that's insane. It was just and the Bunnies 25 out of 36. I mean, how much the Bunnies playing poorly and us playing well, how much of a balance is a bit of both? Or do you think they played poorly because our boys stepped up?
I think we put a lot of pressure on their attack. I don't know what you guys felt. I know those stats make us look like much the better team. I really felt the scoreline was a fair indication of the game. I thought it could have gone either way. Those completion rates are ridiculous. If we ever looked at a West Tigers game, you'd never remember all the errors because we normally have so many errors. I can tell you those two errors now. One was a crash ball from Brooksy to Seyfarth in the first half, and one was a Toa drop bomb. They're the only two errors for the whole game. Like, it's insane. Yet we still threw enough at them to score some points. So, look, it was really Herculean, guys, what the boys did the other night. And I don't think any NRL team has started 2-5 and felt this good. Like, we really hit rock bottom after Cronulla. And it's going to sound crazy to say, I'm kind of glad in a way we didn't beat the Warriors and the Titans. I feel we learnt so much from those losses. If we'd have won the first 5 games, it would have been like, when are we going to collapse? Is this really going to keep going on? The boys have learnt, they've thrown away 2 victories and they know now what it takes to win a game, and they've got some confidence. And Jackson Hastings is the guy that's brought that back, guys. We had no leadership, and that's why we weren't winning. We've got leadership now. We've won some games, and now we've won some games. We've got some belief. So I don't think we're going to take anyone for granted anymore, guys. Whether we beat St. George next week or not, it won't be because of, we're favourites or we think we're better than them or anything like that. I think there's just a newfound siege mentality, next man up sort of thing going on with the West Tigers, and I'm loving it, guys. I feel like we've turned the corner. Whether it's for this year or not, it doesn't matter. You know, everyone keeps saying we've got to build, we've got to build. You can't freaking build until you strip down what you already had. You know, you've got to get the foundations right. We had to strip things back. We had to fix up our salary cap. We had to do a lot of different things. So everyone goes, oh, I want to see improvement. You got to knock down what was there first before you go back up. So I think we're heading in the right direction, and Madge has got the boys just, you know, next man up mentality, as I said. It's really the heart's pumping, boys. I love this team.
Aaron, your thoughts on the domination in terms of completion rate? Did you feel like we should have been more in front? So Shane and Rob were kind of, a bit of counterpointing there. I'll let you be the decider. Do you? I definitely felt like we couldn't play much better. Like we were pretty much close to our perfect football and to win by one. But a good side. In saying that, we're playing a pretty good side. What are your thoughts, Az?
Well, we were playing last year's grand finalists. They were always they've got a good squad. The depth there. They've lost some quality since last year, but they were always going to be thereabouts coming into this year again, even with the injuries, because they've got the depth to cover Latrell. They've got the youngsters. They've got everything there. They were the favourites, well deservedly enough. We were the underdogs. We were the better team for a lot of the game. I feel like one of the reasons why we didn't look that much better on the scoreboard was because those combinations are still going to take a little bit of time to gel. Plus, we had a few players playing out of position. We lost a lot of games. Lost a lot of players during the game. The game itself was just a grind. None of you have mentioned so far, though, that I think our possession stats at halftime had us at 67% to their 33%. So our domination with ball in hand in the first half, I was really hopeful that we'd come over the top of them in the second half. Wasn't to be. They won the second half by a point, but we got up on the final scoreboard. So that's the best part.
Cool little Roads of Oz. Shane said Maguire pointed out in the press conference. Well, he said P's conference, but we obviously know that he said. The press conference, mate. Constant media hounding galvanised the squad. Do you feel like the back to the ball, the boys at the back, their back to the wall, made them lift the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, you're just constantly getting put down. At what point do you turn around and say, no, look, we're all going to stand up? The way Jackson Hastings is standing up for Brooks, the team is standing around Brooks, especially after these two performances. Like, look, let's be honest, Brooks hasn't really played that great this year. I thought the first game he was really good. Second game he was average, and then it sort of got worse as it went on a little bit. These last two games, him getting that pressure taken off him, giving him that few extra seconds to play the ball, play his ball. It's just, I think that's it. And you know what? Having the media hound him continuously, like it's definitely affected how he plays. But I think having Jackson in the team and actually reassuring him that he's actually, mate, you are a good player. Play your football. Don't listen to these people. I really think that's bigger than the media hounding us. I think Jackson coming in and actually believing in him, because no one stood up for Brooks that I can remember. Not like this. No one's jumped into bat for him like this. So I really do think that is the difference. And the media just continuously putting pressure on us. That's caused that to happen. And look, if the media wasn't beating us up all the time, would Jackson have done what he did? Probably not. What's the point? Like, they're not bashing us, so it won't happen. So 100% the media flamed the fire, and let's just hope it keeps going.
Just looking at the further stats here, so the run meters end up evening out a little bit. Post contact meters, the Rabbitohs had a bit more, and in the second half, when we did have Dane go down, Kenny went off as well. We had to shuffle shuffle around a bit. The bunnies did really seem like they were just eating up the meters. But Aaron, credit to the boys. The defense was just pretty on song. I mean, tries from kicks are still a bit of an issue for us, but but the boys really seem to muscle up. And I mean, the tackle from Jacob Little kind of sums it up. Just the coverage of when the sliding, like it's just we seem like we've really turned a corner the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. We have defensively in particular. We went from conceding, I think, honestly, I don't know the numbers, but yeah, we went from conceding.
Too much.
I had it in my head a while ago, but
that's a great dummy, Aaron. That's a great dummy.
Oh well. We're still conceding more than 20 points a game in these last two, but we're actually putting the points on the board to make up for it. I think we were going, 8.5 points per game after those first 5 or something like that. Now we've scored 45 or 44 in the last 2. So, but yeah, defensively, they're aiming up. I said it to the guy sitting next to who I was talking to a lot. They've really started to aim up. No, he was a few rows behind me.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
No, he definitely wouldn't have lasted the game if he was next to me. Yeah, but sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, Aaron. I'll put you off.
We've been aiming up. That's the main thing. They've started to work for each other. Jacko's made it perfectly clear they're working hard for the coach. It's good to see. Things are turning around. I just hope it can continue.
Just some defensive stats here. So 92%. I mean, look how many more tackles the Bunnies had to make. They missed 33 to 6. Only 16 out of 335 missed errors. Wow, 16 to 3. That's Rob. That's. I mean, the Bunnies are better than that. They made some really non-Rabbitohs, and yeah, obviously, as I said before, they made the grand final last year. The Cody Walker dropping the ball. When Noffa threw, Shane mentioned it before, when Noffa threw the ball back in, when Cody Walker dropped that ball, I thought to myself, you know what? That's a sign that it's our night. I'm obviously not spiritual or religious in any way, and don't believe in superstitious anything in terms of that. But it was just that feeling of they dropped. You know what? That's going to be a turning point in the game, and that ended up being a big difference because it ended up being really a 12-point turnaround.
It was a weird first half, Josh, because we played really well, yet when they had a player in the sin bin, they scored 2 tries against us, 12 against 13. So that doesn't do great for our defence, And the same thing happened against the Warriors in one of our games last year where they had 12 men and they scored 2 tries against 13 players. So that was kind of disappointing. Definitely the Cody Walker ball was huge. The turning point that should have turned the whole game is we had a lot of attack the last 10 minutes or so at the end of the first half, and we couldn't score. And Jacob Little running down Lachlan Ilias, that was absolutely huge on 2 counts. One, obviously, it stopped the try. They would have gone in ahead at halftime. The other thing, what no one seems to be talking about it, South kind of blew the game. And I, to a degree, I get why they did this, but Alex Twal goes to the sin bin. There's 80 seconds left in the first half. It's relatively easy. It's about 10 to 12 metres from the right-hand post. You take the 2 points there every time. But I guess South thought, you know what? We've scored 12 against 13 quite easily. We may as well go for 13 against 12. But we're not talking field goals or anything if they kick that goal there. And they would have tied the game up at halftime. So I just thought it was 2 huge moments there that we stopped them. And, that even though we looked gassed at the beginning of the second half, obviously we had 12 men and I think they scored as Alex Twal was about to come back on. I just thought they kind of screwed it up, South. They were a little bit, I don't know if they want, cocky's probably not the right word, but just they might have just taken us for granted. I think you've got to take the goal there every time and tie the game up. And you know what? We would have said, geez, we've had all the stats, we've had all this, and we're still equal with these buggers. So I just thought it was a wrong move from whoever made the decision not to go for goal.
Just a quick one about that try-saving tackle.
Yep.
What about Garner and Musgrove? They were literally running as hard as they possibly could the whole way back down, like literally just followed him. And they were trying to go as hard as they could. Whereas 100% last year, we would have seen them just drop off and start walking.
Well, even the Cody Walker try, Shane, you know, like as terrible as it was, that I don't think it was a try anyway myself. We had 5 guys around Alex Johnson, and maybe Dane Laurie took it casually because he probably could have even dived in from the back, but he didn't want to do any overkill. But we had 5 guys there, like you're saying. When would we have got that effort where we had, you know, a third of the team basically tackling one bloke, like in desperation? So even when we're letting in points, there's some really good signs, guys. It's that siege mentality. I love it. I'm so impressed, guys, and people were playing in all sorts of different positions throughout the games, which was...
Well, that's it. Look, players are out of position and they're still pulling that. That's the difference. Yeah. Whereas we haven't seen this stuff before, not in the last few years. We haven't seen this want to stop them scoring.
Yeah, and I don't know if it came about by accident or by design, but Colin Matungi's try when he goes between Jackson Hastings and Oliver Gildart, and that's probably Gildart's fault for pushing up too hard again. So again, we got that block play issue with him. Hastings is normally on the other side of the field, and Brooksy's there. So I don't know if it was just in the scramble or desperation that they just accidentally ended up on the wrong sides of the field. But you normally got Brooks there and you got Hastings on the other side. So I don't know. I'd love to know if that was just a fluke, that it worked out like that, or if they planned to swap sides, because I just figure, I kind of think too, if Brooks was there, that try might not have been scored because his tackling's been sensational.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, his defense has been, just that's why a lot of people are saying playing him at hooker was a good idea. He's almost tackling like a hooker. There was a couple of times in the game, Shane, that we went, who was that? And then Brooksy stands up.
Brooks pops up.
Yeah.
And then he can still pick up a loose ball. He can still pick up a loose ball and burn 70 metres after busting his ass all day. Like he's got so much ability, and how good was that try too? Like, talk about making up for that golden point try that got taken off us last year. Like I just straight away, I just thought, you're not taking that one off us, guys. That was beautiful.
And it helped. I was extra happy too because I had a multi Brooks score, Kenny score into us with a 12.5 start. So it was like Winks bloody running the home straight at Ramwick for me. I was really, really running Brooksy home there, Shane, and we'll obviously go nuts with the rest of the Tigers crowd. Rosa Odds mentioned.
That's an understatement.
Bunny's letting Reynolds go has cost them. He would have slotted a field goal or a 2-point field goal like he did to us last year. I felt the same, Shane. We're kind of talking about that when the scores were tied. I felt we were feeling a little bit more confident the fact that he wasn't there. And who was it? Who was the back rower? He had a clear shot from about 15 meters out.
Oh, yeah, that was
Jai Arrow, was it?
Yeah.
And
he just fumbled it across the deck.
He just absolutely hooked it. Like, it didn't get more than a meter off the ground, and it went dead. I don't know if that led to the set that we kicked our field goal. Did it? Because
that might have, but
penalty.
That did,
we
because
had a few goes ourselves, guys.
Okay.
We only got it on the 4th go ourselves. You know, we had 2 missed from Jacko, which at the time I was questioning that because I would have rather to pin South deep in their territory, because we basically gave them 7 tackle sets twice. And poor old Jock Madden, I don't know if you guys have seen the replay of the game yet. That ball's going over the middle of the post if it's not charged down.
Oh, no, I said that to Josh straight away. I'm like, that one was going straight over.
Yeah. Well, when you see the camera from our try line looking towards where we're kicking the field goal, it's just going perfectly over the middle. So that was kind of a little bit unlucky there. But, also we got unlucky. We got lucky with that accidental offside, which was huge. We never get on the end of those. So yeah, it was actually a really good call from the ref, which I don't often say, but it was good for the ref to pick that up because, in the haste of the game, you might miss something like that. So, yeah,
Well,
just an exciting game,
Yeah.
boys.
Well, their forwards were scary that last half hour. Their forwards were
They
charging.
played well, man. They played well. They
Yeah.
just made some errors, but they played well.
Well, it's just like that last half an hour. I just remember looking at their forwards and they were just making meters every run. I'm sitting there going, boys, this isn't looking good because we're not making meters. Like our forwards are getting stopped, and
Yeah,
they just had that second wind, and man, they were going for it. But look, Jimmy, straight up, Jimmy came on, and man, he was running harder than I've ever seen him run.
he played great.
Holy shit, he was running as hard as I've ever seen him run.
Yeah,
vintage Jimmy.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
They all played great, guys. I don't, like I say, we're just getting a little bit technical on some of the bad stuff, but you got to be proud of the whole team, guys. It was really heroic. You just can't ask for more than that. It's just nice to be on the right side of it because even if we lost, I still would have been happy with the effort, but it just would have hurt. Now we've got a little bit of momentum, and we're going to Wollongong, and hopefully we can get the 2 points.
Aaron, we lost you there for a bit. We've got you back now. Chris just brought up the assist from Alex Johnston. Basically, it turned into a rugby union maul, and somehow he was allowed to throw the ball back
100%
and pick it up and score.
Bullshit.
Like as soon as we saw that replay, like we were just like, "Oh, no try, yeah, get on." Like it can't be a try. There's no way.
It touched Tiger's hands as well. It touched Tiger's hands as well. It's not like it went through the middle of 6-7 dudes who were around him. Like it touched someone, which means if he dropped it, he's knocked it on, hasn't he? If he's lost the ball into somebody, it's a knock on no matter what. So that blew my mind. But the fact that he sat there in the same spot for I'd say a good 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
If he was in the field of play, he would have been told to go back and play it.
But even I felt like Jai Arrow's hand was pushing the ball forward a little bit, and it might have even touched our blokes before it went backwards. Did you see Jai Arrow's hand push against the ball? And I'm like,
look, there had to have been a knock on in there somewhere. It was so dodgy. I couldn't believe it.
And the ref went up no try too, didn't he?
Yeah, he went up no try.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he went up no try. So at the very least, inconclusive. Like, Jesus. Like, Aaron, your thoughts? Sorry, I was going to throw to you, but the boys ate that one up. Did you think it was no try? Like the 99% of the rest of the population, other than South fans?
Absolutely, I did. How long do you have to hold them in the same position before held is called? And like Shane said, the ball touched at least one pair of Tiger's hands in there. There were 4 pairs of hands around that ball at one point. And 99% of the time, they call those where it goes from like one player has it and it comes in contact with the player on the opposite team, whether it's gone quote unquote forwards or backwards, it's always been a knock on. I was absolutely bamboozled by it. And again, it went up as a no try. Generally, when it's a no try, they're not going to overrule those sorts of things because there is no conclusive evidence that it wasn't knocked on or anything like that. And then the amount of time they spent looking at it too, it was as if they were trying to find as many reasons as possible to give it a try.
Yeah, it's just absolute joke. Like I went off a bit on Twitter, on the Westlife Twitter feed. I shouldn't tweet when under emotion, but I'm just so used to calls like that costing us games. Like I just thought that's going to come back to haunt us. But anyway, let's get into player by player stats here. So jersey numbers again. See, I'll share the screen this week, boys. See those numbers?
I got Buckley's reading
it's in
that, my friend.
It's number. Okay, you might need a bigger screen. I'm just wanted to prove to you guys that it's in number order. So don't hate me if the positions are out of whack. But Dane Laurie played 41 minutes. Sorry, Shane.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird, eh? There's no number 9 because Jakey Simkin wasn't there, so they've just completely scrapped it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dane Laurie, 1 minute into the second half. He went down with. Did he injured it before halftime, didn't he?
Yeah, he hobbled off
at
at halftime.
Yeah, he tried to test it obviously for a minute, and Shane, he was kind of almost in front of us, where we were sitting, and you pointed out, said, "Look, Dane, he's wrecked. Like he's got to get off."
That was when he was walking off at halftime. He was hobbling, and I don't even think he came out. I don't think he came out after halftime. I really don't think he did. So that's weird. That's weird that the minutes show 41, but like I really don't think he came out at all.
He never came out.
I swear Toa just walked straight to the back.
I agree.
He did.
Okay.
I think a lot of the time they when they played the first 40, a lot of the time the halftime stats will show 41 minutes because the clock, quote unquote, ticks over into the next minute.
Yeah, right. The 41st minute,
and they're still playing. Yeah,
I get you. That makes sense. Okay, thanks for clearing that up, boys. So in one half of football, 9 runs, 41 meters, only 6 kick return meters, 6 contact meters, a line break assist, and a try assist. Though the try assist was for Ken. Was it Kenny's try?
Yeah, Ken's try when he cut out Garner.
2 tackle breaks, a couple of tackles made, 1 missed, and he had a forced dropout as well, which is nice to see. It's nice to see the last couple of weeks us actually getting forced dropouts. It's one of those things we never seem to get. But no errors from Dane. So NRL physio, where we all seem to get our suggestions on when players will be back. He said 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, with his MCL injury. Did I read that correctly?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what it said. Yeah,
he probably comes back after the bye.
After the bye, okay, that bye kind of helps make sure he's definitely ready to come back. So let's go. It's hard with 3. Any, meeny, miny, mo. Shane, thoughts on Dane in the first half?
He played a lot better. They definitely weren't kicking to him. They were kicking to the edges all the time. So that's why his run meters don't look really anything, because they were just kicking straight to the edges. So, look, I reckon he played good. He had a few good runs. Just a good overall game until he hurt his knee. I think that was about 5 minutes before halftime. I noticed him sort of limping around a little bit.
Anything of note, Aaron, for Dane Laurie?
I'm just really disappointed for him. He played well. He looked like he was just starting to find his groove back a little bit again, with 2 really, really solid weeks. To have his comeback, I guess, ended that way is a little bit shattering, but he played quite well. They ended up shifting him to the wing for those last few minutes after he got injured, and Toa went straight to the back. So did he have any involvements as a winger for those last couple minutes before halftime?
I didn't see any I noticed he was dragging back a little bit. Like he was definitely, he wasn't right. He definitely couldn't move that knee right.
He was trying to walk it off, which credit to him, but sometimes you're better off not risking those things. I guess he thought he'd probably be able to give it a bit of a go and see how he was going at halftime, but obviously they made the smart call at halftime and didn't let him come back.
Rob, thoughts? Derek brought this up earlier, but who do you think will be playing fullback next week?
I think now it's going to be Toa, which I've got no problems with Toa being at fullback, but our centres are really thin now, guys. If Jimmy Roberts doesn't come back, we've got some problems. We don't want to drag the play thing out like 10 minutes at a time on everyone, but all I just want to add on Dane Laurie is he caught some balls on the full this week, which he'd been letting bounce in previous weeks. So I thought that was a really good sign that he was, making an effort to get to the ball on the full. But he's going to be a big loss, guys. But, as I said at the start of the show, boys, next man up. That's it now. We're down to the bones of our squad, but we'll just find a way.
Young Logan Dillon, I think I've asked this before. When's he eligible to play? Is it not till halfway through? Can we get an exemption because of these injuries?
No, it's only COVID exemptions.
But
we might be able to put something in. But
people injured, if you get enough players injured, you can get exemptions.
Yeah, you have to put it to the NRL. Yeah, you'd have to put it to the NRL. But
no,
I'll be honest.
If it was a Roosters or something.
Look, I'll be honest, man. I haven't seen Logan Dillon in the Magpies squad for about 3-4 weeks. So I don't know if he's playing. I think he might be playing flag. So I don't know, man. They got that Junior Tupou playing fullback. You know that fella that we signed from rugby union.
Yeah,
he's playing fullback at the moment. So before that, it was Stafford. Stafford was playing fullback. So I really think they were getting him prepped for this because if Dane Laurie went out, we needed a fullback.
Junior was named last week in the 21 squad too, wasn't he?
Yes. Well, I'm pretty sure he has a top 30 contract.
Yeah. So maybe Toa goes to fullback and he comes in to centre or wing.
Well, I've noticed Rua has also been named. He got named this week, I think, in the well into the reserves. But still, that made me wonder: is he eligible?
Yeah, you wouldn't think. Yeah, because we were under the assumption that he wasn't. But on to player number 2, David Nofaluma. So Nofa got a double. He 2 tries from Nof. He had 18 runs, 140 meters from Nofa, at another 60 for his lateral meters as well. Kick return meters only 24, post contact meters 38, a couple of line breaks, 6 tackle breaks, a dummy half run, a couple of offloads, 3 tackles. Any errors from Nof? No,
not technically an error, but he threw the ball back in for Cody Walker's knock on.
That counts as Cody Walker.
That almost gave
Cody
me
Walker
an
saved him. It's for a split second. I nearly shat my Dax as well. But apart from that, what have I done there? I've accidentally clicked in that. Sorry, boys. I just clicked through to brydens.com.au on an ad in the corner. I have to shut that down.
Leo just gave, mate.
Yeah, Leo just gave you a page impression, mate. So love to support you guys. Let's go, Rob. You go first. We'll do it snake-wise. So you go first for Nofa. Absolutely cracking game from Nof.
Yeah, the stats don't even give him that one-on-one strip as well, which if we'd have played our cards right, we probably would have scored after that. He was my man of the match, guys, and I've actually got both wingers in our top 3. Obviously there were so many good players, but Nofa was brilliant. He scored a try, he almost scored a try. Those couple of offloads you mentioned, Josh, one in particular in the second half, we were under the pump, man, and I can't remember who he gave it to, but whoever he gave it to made another 15 or 20 meters.
I think it was Garner.
Might have been Garner, but he was just sensational the other night. And forget the Cody Walker thing. Man, we're all going to make mistakes every now and then, and it could have been a really damning mistake, but he was best on ground for me. Loved what he did. He's got that swagger back. He's looking really good, boys, and he's my man.
Aaron, thoughts on Nofa?
I absolutely love the bloke, but holy hell, that pass back inside to Cody Walker could have been the dumbest thing he's ever done on a football field if it had stuck. That was horrifying. Great game from him. Beside that, though, absolutely love watching him play. The heart, the effort, the energy, the enthusiasm. Top shelf game from him. He was one of those players who got off to a bit of a, somewhat lazy start this year, but last couple of weeks in particular, I think he's well and truly starting to make up for it. So hopefully he can continue, grab a few more doubles, triples in the try column.
That save, though, I'm going to put that down. It was Luke Brooks that passed it, wasn't it? The absolutely shit pass.
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Brooksy. So whoever threw that pass was part to blame. So if they didn't throw a shit pass, it made him have to try and save the ball desperately. So I'll put half the blame on whoever did that. It was pretty spectacular in the end. He perfectly had his ball the foot just inside the sideline. It looked good. It was, it's just one of those split-second moments that, and Cody Walker dropping the ball completely changed the game. He holds on to that. I think South's probably win. But Shane, any other thoughts on David Nofaluma?
Look, everyone's brought up good points, so I'm not going to drag it on. My favourite thing he did, had an excellent game. I think it was a minute 30 in the first half. They were on our line. They put a little grubber through, and he just towed it. Just a little bit of pressure on it, picked it up, and got it out. And that was wild. When I saw that, I was just like, holy shit, because we couldn't see that from where we were sitting. We saw that he got the ball out, but I didn't understand what he did to do it. Watching it back on TV today, I was just like, no, that is wild. Like how it was like just literally, it just hit the bottom of his foot and he just pushed it forward enough that he could get the momentum to pick it up and like bury his way out. So that to me was, that was one of the plays of the game, really, because they could have scored very, very easily there. And that was within the first minute and a half. So that was my, like the strip and stuff, like that was awesome. But to stop a try going in, no, that was my play from Noffa. I rated it, loved it.
Just saw boys come up on my phone notification, Chamis reporting about Jack Bird. So obviously if you watch the Roosters Dragons game today, he went off, suspected broken arm.
Yep.
And the Tigers met with him before Christmas. I'm going to hold a meeting with him to play for us. The Dragons apparently offered him 2 years at 1.1, so 550 a year, but he wants 3 years, and the Tigers are going to meet with him to possibly sign him. So, Rob, any thoughts on Jack Bird? When we could do with him playing in the centres, I don't think I'd put him in our halves. We're pretty stacked with issues who we put in the halves positions. But would you like Jack Bird? He's 27. He'll be 28 next year, so he's not old. Very injury prone though.
Yeah, I'd take the Cronulla version of Jack Bird every day of the week. Definitely don't want the Broncos version of him. But to his credit, the last month or so, he's played really good footy with St George. So, look, he definitely fill a role in the centres. I think we've got plenty of back rowers, even though we're losing a couple. Hopefully we've got Sean Bloor and Isaiah Papali'i starting next year. So he'll definitely fill a role, guys. If we can't knock back good players, but it just depends how much coin. It pretty much
comes. The Dragons are offering him $550 a year. You would think that we're offering for him to. So although maybe $550 a year, if we offer him $500 over 3 years, $500,000. Shane, assuming around that $500,000, is he worth about $500,000 to us?
$500,000, yes, but not for 3 years. No chance. I would not sign him for 3 years. 2 years maximum, and to be honest, even then, I'm a bit sketchy on that. He's hurt every season. Obviously. Every single season, man. He's injured. So I'll be honest, I don't think it's a smart investment. Like, yes, he's a good player, but man, his injury record, it's too much. It's too much of a gamble to be putting on someone, especially when you're paying him $550,000-$600,000 a year over a 3-year deal, and you'll probably get less than 30 games out of him if his injury streak keeps up. So,
yeah, it wreaks a little bit of the Matt balance. Possibly, Aaron. Before we move on, any thoughts, Jack Bird? Yes or no from you, knowing those things?
Decent player. Would take him for 2 years at around the $500,000, but yeah, probably not much more than that. We've had a horrible run of signing those players who were just easily injury prone. Ballon, perfect example of it. I think there was someone else we signed around the same time that ended up spending a lot of time on the sidelines.
Josh Reynolds.
Chris McQueen.
Chris
McQueen, that's the one I was thinking of, yeah.
Ben Madalino. How many more can we name, boys?
Just think of all the Justin Pascoe signings. They're the ones. Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds spent the first 2 seasons away from first grade, basically. He never got a game.
Yeah.
Like 5 games or something.
There's an easy 4 players in, 4 years of signings.
About $3 million worth of them. So.
We did amazing without a third of our cap.
And Russell,
it'd be a very West Tigers thing.
Yeah, Russell Packer last year hardly played.
Right, on to Stafford Toa. Enough about Jack Bird. So Stafford Toa obviously moved to fullback in the second half. He had 17 runs, 106 meters, 42 post contact. He had 2 line break assists, 2 try assists, a tackle break. He had 3 tackles, 1 missed, 3 kick diffused, and 1 error. What was that? Oh, obviously he dropped the ball at fullback, jumping for it late in the second half. But apart from that one, I'll go to you first, Shane. Stafford Toa, apart from he filled that role pretty well in the second half. Apart from that one stuff up, so about a B plus from me from Stafford. What are your thoughts?
No, to me, he gets an A. To go from playing on the edge to get all of a sudden getting shifted to fullback, man, he did a great job. He ran the ball back bloody hard. Look, man, I can't fault his game. I was super impressed, and to be honest, I was super proud because he's a young fella. We haven't really given him heaps of run. He hasn't stayed in a spot. He's played centre, wing, and now fullback. And have a look at what he's doing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He is just going in full tilt, no matter what position. And to be honest, every game he has played, he's impressed me. I want him in the team all the time, whether he's playing centre, whether he's playing wing, I don't care. Fullback for the next few weeks. He has to be in the team because every time he gets the ball, he looks like he's going to do something. He looks scary. People don't really want to tackle him. He ducks and weaves, he steps, and it's just awesome to watch. I love him. I love him.
Definitely looks dangerous. Excellent. Every time he gets the ball, he does look dangerous.
Just Aaron, powerful.
Thoughts on Stafford?
Yeah, considering he was thrown in the deep end a bit there, he stepped up. There's not much more to say than that. He the best thing about it is, though, I know it's not a good thing to say best thing about Dane being injured, but if he is training at fullback for the week, he'll get the chance to practice those high bombs, making sure he's underneath those. He's able to get them even with players running at him. I think that's how he'd be advised to spend a lot of the week. But it was one drop out of a whole lot of chances to drop them in a very high pressure time of the game when we were tied with them for a while there. We were behind for a while there as well. He stepped up. He lifted just like the rest of the team did. Can't fault the effort. And if he does end up being named at fullback tomorrow, I'll be looking forward to seeing how he goes there on Sunday.
Rob, anything to add to that? And I can see, I just looked up, look at the Storm came in front of me. They put 60 on the Warriors. Not looking good for our mate Christian over the Warriors podcast, but good for us in terms of Warriors falling back towards us for us to jump them next week. Back to Stafford Toa. Rob, anything to add there?
Yeah, I don't wish this scoreline on Christian. He's a good man. I think when Jimmy Roberts is fit, if we had our best players available now, Stafford Toa is our left centre. I think he's going to be in our best 13 players now. So I'd have Jimmy on the right and Stafford on the left. Obviously, he's going to be fullback for the next month or so. I love his footwork, guys. Every time he gets the ball, I'm thinking, take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. Like the guy's got some moves with his feet. You know what I mean? So I'm just loving his footwork. I didn't think he had such good footwork, but he defended well in the centres before he moved the other night. And look, he dropped a bomb like, shit happens. I mean, he probably didn't need to jump for the ball, and I guess he tried to jump so he wouldn't get hit. But in hindsight, I think he just should have kept both feet planted on the ground and caught it. But he had a great game, as Shane said. So very happy with him, guys, and it looks like we've made a good acquisition with him.
Rob, random trivia question I'll ask you. Has there ever been another Stafford in the NRL? Is he the first one?
I feel like there might have been one more, but I can't think of who it was.
I don't have the answer.
Is it no one?
If anyone in the chat, does anyone know of any other stuff? It's a cool name, though. Quite. Maybe my second child.
You don't have to tell us, but how many are there or were there?
I don't know. It was a question I was asking.
Okay.
I was hoping
you
knew the answer. If anyone listening live knows, can think of any Stafford, it kind of suits him. It has that it's like a cool NBA sort of name. Kenny Mamalo up next. So Kenny got my multi-home. He scored a nice finish as well in the corner this week, just like he did last week. He had 19 runs for 179 meters, 67 post-contact meters, a line break. He had one tackle made, one tackle missed. And obviously he went off with, where's his minutes? With 2 minutes. 2 minutes remaining? I thought it was early. Was it that late in the game, Shane?
Must have been, unless he came back on. I'll be honest, those last, 10 minutes of the game, I was absolutely losing my shit. So whether he went off or on it, I didn't notice. I was just fucking going off. So we had that South fan in front of us. We had some behind us, and the ones behind us were quiet as mice. I loved it. It was good.
Scroll all the way to the end, Josh.
Yeah, the stint too. Yeah. There's only one stint, 77, so 2 minutes and 24 seconds off the field. But any more thoughts on Ken? That's some pretty impressive statistics.
Go to his post contact. He has the most post contact in our team. He's got 67 meters, I think.
67, and the next highest was 60 by
60
Jimmy.
for Jimmy. So our winger has the most run meters at 179, and has 67 post contact meters. So look,
he's a beast.
He's given it a red hot crack. He's a big boy, and he was running hard. I loved it. He was killer.
Aaron, a lot of people I saw, rightly or wrongly, were saying, even in our chat last week, were saying, how is Ken playing first grade this week? I still haven't watched the Sharks game and probably never will, but apparently that was Ken was pretty disgusting in that game. But last couple of weeks, he's definitely showing he's the talent that we thought he would be.
He's one of our captains in the last 2 weeks. He's stepped up and actually played like it. This week in particular, for a winger in particular, that is some beastly post-contact meters. He just kept carting it upfield, players on his back. It was good to see. He literally carried the team on his back to get us out of trouble at times.
Rob, any thoughts on Ken?
Look,
after that Cronulla game when he got dropped, I think I said on the pod, leading up to the Para game, I really want him to be there. He's an aerial threat. He's really good for us generally. Like, it was just a lazy thing. And to be honest, I don't think Madge actually named a replacement for him. So even though he was officially dropped, he was kind of always in the team the whole time. It was like a bit of a bluff, because really no one dropped out for him to be in there. He was just always in there the whole time against Para. Being at the game, Josh, I never seen Ken, like, out of all the players on the field, no one ran the ball harder. And I really noticed that in the first half. Some of those hit-ups he was doing, even when he wasn't getting the post-contact, he was running enormously hard. So, and as I said to you earlier, he's in my points this week. There was a kick where he got knocked off balance by Josh Mansour in an aerial one and he dropped it. It looked like he could have scored. And another one where I think Kenny played the man for the grubber kick. If he'd have focused on the ball, he might have got the try.
That would have been a try.
It would have been a try if he'd
Josh
been watching the ball instead of the man.
Like,
yeah. So, but other than that, man, he played great, and he's a threat now. And I don't know, whatever happened in that Cronulla game, it's probably turned out to be the best thing for him because, look, he didn't play badly prior to the Cronulla game. He was pretty good in a couple of games before that. So it was just that one terrible game. So no, very happy for him, guys. And, definitely earned a point from me this week.
I'm going to, boys, this week, tell you what, I'll go to our other centre, Luke Garner, even though he's number 17. So we'll go out of number order and we'll go literal order this week. It's just to...
Josh, excuse me for keeping looking away, but Melbourne have hit 70. I keep looking at the TV screen. They've actually hit 70.
Wow.
I've only just seen Olam plant the ball down now, so I must be a little bit behind.
That's I literally, as you said that,
he got tackled short of the line and then he grounded it. The tackler came through.
Wow. When was the last 70? What did the Storm put on us last year?
66.
I
think it was
66 to 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put 70 on St. George.
Not 70. We didn't concede 70.
They put 70 on St. George in the famous Nathan Brown to Lance Thompson Falcon from the 20-metre tap kick.
What's the 60-point win? That's got to be close to who's scoring all the points?
Munster,
everyone.
Jerome Hughes, Ryan Pappenhausen, and Nick Meaney all three of them have got doubles so far. And I think the right winger, Xavier Coates, might have 3 tries.
I was about to say Coates has gotten at least a double as well.
Yeah, I think Coates might have 3, but I've lost count. But I keep looking at the TV in between the chat.
Yeah. Man, Harry Grant with his Rambo headband.
Yeah, Harry Grant got one tonight too.
What I would do to get him.
What would you do? No, anyway. Let's go on to Luke Garner.
You don't want to know.
Don't want to get cancelled halfway through the show. Luke Garner, 69 run meters. Obviously, he played in the centres. Again, he's becoming a stalwart in the centres for us because we literally have none left. 26 post-contact meters, 3 tackle breaks. He had 10 tackles, none missed, which is pretty good to see on the centre, and no errors. Rob, I'll go to you first. I'll snake back to you. Another week of Luke Garner just doing his job, just playing out of position, but just, putting in and being obviously no missed tackles, made all 10 of them. Can't fault LG in that game again.
Yeah, different sort of levels of output, but basically Luke Garner and Alex Twal are twins. Like they're just not missing tackles, doing their job. Loving how the Tigers are using him as a decoy on those block plays because realistically he's not gonna make that break and score a try. So a few times I've noticed our shape we've used him as a block runner. So or throwing a face ball out as we did to Kenny Mamalo. So look, he's doing a job, guys. He's playing with heart. Always loved the bloke as a player anyway. And just, I'm hoping, he'll get his chance in the second row one day. But we don't have enough centres, unfortunately. So he's just got to go in the centres for now until we can find a few centres.
Can we turn him into the next Talakai?
No, he's not that sort of player. No. How many Talakais have you seen in the last 30 years, man?
Daniela the Tank. He's the only
one
that
say
looks like him.
Tuiaki came to my mind.
Tuiaki's about as close as you'll get.
That's it.
If you go back 30 or 40 years, Noel Cleal, someone like that.
Right, he was just so stupid. Watching what he did, it's literally the same player. I'm looking at him going, man. But the thing is, Talakai's so quick. That's the one thing Garner doesn't have. He doesn't have that speed. So, look, I like him in the centre. He's doing a job. Defensively shores it up. The issue is we need that speed. We need that punch on the edge because it just gives so much time for the defense to just shift over. And look, I'm hoping we can do some of his little hole runs that he used to do with Brooksy. If we can sort of start setting that up, even just as a centre, he just loops in and does a few of them, because he scored a few tries doing that in the last few years, and him and Brooksy had that real good connection. So hopefully we can see a bit of that from him.
Aaron, any thoughts on LG?
Pretty much everything that's already been said.
Yeah, sorry. It's tough going last in a foursome.
I'll also let you know. So Coates ended up actually scoring 4 tries in the game. He scored 1 in the first half and then 3 in a row in the 60th, 66th, and 68th minutes.
Do you reckon he regrets his decision to leave the Broncos?
Would you regret a decision to leave the Broncos?
Not unless it's the Denver Broncos. But on to Luke Brooks. So Brooksy obviously scored a try, kicked the game-winning field goal, 12 runs, 146 meters from Brooksy, and that is third in the team. The third meters. I guess he ran.
He ran half of them off the try.
That was about 60 of them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, 65. Yeah,
that helps. 12 post contact, 3 tackle breaks. What else from Luke Brooks? 19 tackles, 4 missed. The most missed tackles by a long shot in the team, and 7 kicks, 214 meters, as you can see, compared to Jackson Hastings, who did more than double the amount of kicks and 480 meters. But a forced dropout from Brooksy as well, and no errors. Right, Aaron, I'll let you take Brooksy first. Outside, obviously, he was our hero of this week, but the number 6, second week in a row, you can't fault the halves combo that we have going now.
He's taken to it like a fish to water. He's stepped up, and I think the most telling thing was in his post-game interview on Fox that I was listening to on my way back to the bus stop. He said he's enjoying his footy again. That to me is probably the best part of it. He's been enjoying his footy again, playing alongside Jacko. He's loving being a part of the team. The team's getting around him. He's stepping up on the field. He's also pretty bloody quick, as we saw with that try.
Yeah, he's definitely the speed. Never doubted his speed. It was more, I guess it was Rob. Is it fair to say it was his decision making on the game and playing 6 and letting Jacko call the shots? It's been huge for Brooksy.
Yeah, I think it hasn't been good for Luke Brooks being the primary decision maker. He's still a decision maker, but now that he's got Jacko there, it just takes the pressure off him a bit. Like, no one's going to get upset if, Jacko misses a field goal or does something wrong. But when Brooksy does something wrong, the focus is ridiculous on him. Look, he's found his spot. Josh and Shane, like I've said for a couple of years, I think we've all said it. He's really a 5'8". We even said it when we did our preseason chat. He's a second receiver. But the best thing is, we criticise our attack and stuff like that. Madge has changed it around now. I said to you a week or two ago when he got named at 6, what's the difference? He's going to play left half and Jacko's going to play right half. Well, I was wrong. Jacko's playing both sides of the ruck most of the times now. So we have adapted our style to suit Brooksy, and it's working. His kicking game, which I know you've mentioned the numbers, his kicking game was really good Saturday night, like really, really good. Nothing special, but just like there were no bad kicks. And
he found brass.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah,
he found brass. Exactly. But no, look, good on him. But, I'm not comparing him to Benji, but the criticism Benji Marshall used to get, if Benji Marshall didn't have a 12 out of 10 game, it was like, oh, Benji wasn't good. Like Benji had to do score a try and do a flick pass and have 3 try assists, or it wasn't a good game. And I feel like everyone wants Brooks to be man of the match every week. He can't be that. He's just got to play his role. Brooksy wasn't in our best 3 players the other night. He played great, but he wasn't in our best 3 players. And I think we just got to take a little bit of pressure off him. And to be fair, he's not the main guy anymore. So we don't need to be pointing, at Brooks too much. So good on him. I'm so happy for him. He's a resilient little bugger. And it's going to, obviously there's a lot of talk now about, well, what happens with Adam Dwayhe when he comes back. Shane and I have had a polite disagreement about it, a couple of days ago. But that's healthy, man, that we've got competition for spots. We'll get onto the hooker later, but we've had a hooker that played a great game against Para, and the hooker that we didn't want to be back in first grade pulled his finger out last week. So, you know what I mean? Like, if we've got competition for spots, it's a really healthy situation to be in. So, anyway, well done to Brooksy. Really happy for him. And, even when he kicked that field goal, like, him and Robbie Farrell were calming the troops, set up for the kickoff. Like, he had a little bit of a moment there, but then he was like, come on, guys, let's get back in position. So his focus was there, guys. And, really happy for him.
I'll pull on that Adam Dwayhe string, Rob.
Yeah, sure.
So what are you thinking when Adam comes back?
Look, the best thing for our team and our club right now is for Adam to play centre, because we don't have centres. If you ask me who the better 5'8" is, Adam Dwayhe 8 days a week. And as I said to Shane privately, I think a lot of people, out of sight, out of mind. Adam Dwayhe was the heart and soul of our team last year. If Adam played, we did well. If Adam didn't play, we didn't do well. We've seen the difference Jacko's made with leadership. Adam does provide that same leadership. I don't know if he makes everyone as good a player around him as Jacko does. Perhaps not, but he's still a leader. He plays with heart and spirit. He has a lot of try assists. He's got a great brain on him. He's got a great kicking game on him. I still think Adam's a better 6, but the problem is you can't put Brooks anywhere else. All 3 of the halves we've just mentioned, they're all off contract at the end of 2023. So we're going to have to make a decision on which way we're going to go, because, Adam will do whatever it takes for the team. But if Adam's told in 2024 you're going to be a centre, I don't think Adam would hang around. So I still think Brooksy might be the odd man out, but let's just see how things pan out the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and just let, the natural sort of progression take place. You never know, mate. Adam might walk in because Jacko's injured or Brooksy's injured. Like, we're just dropping like flies at the moment. So, look, it's a great problem to have, guys. That's a good thing. But, yeah, for me, Adam right now needs to be in the centres, but he's our best 5'8".
A big thing about, if you say he's going to be a centre, that means you're not going to pay big dollars his next contract, because the halves get paid more than
correct.
centres.
But he is on fullback's money, Josh. He got signed as a fullback.
Yeah, but which is you can live with if you
can live with that because he's in the spine. Correct. I agree with that.
So Shane, Kathy's saying lock for Adam possibly, and then Rose of Oz saying centre. So it's it's a debate.
Spoken to a few people. I've spoken to a few people about this. I was thinking
just
a similar
strangers on the
thing.
street or people within the club?
No, just a few of my mates who are close to the club. No one inside the club, no one internally. I don't really think that's a decision really to have with anyone there. To me, it comes down to defence. Does Adam have the defence to sit there and back up in the centre of the field every time? And to be honest, I don't think he does. I really don't think he does. If you want to put one of the halves into the lock position, I'd put Brooksy. He tackles a lot, seems to not tire him out, but I just don't think he's up to the defensive. Like, Adam would be up to the defensive calling, really. Have a look at Joffa's tackles. I think he did like 43 tackles, zero missed. Do you really think Adam could cop 46 tackles or 43 tackles? I don't think he would, personally. You have to play him in the centres. You've got to play him somewhere where you're going to get the best out of him, because you've got to think of it this way. He's playing in the centres, but give him a license to roam. Get him in there. Get him to play as a playmaker. Like, he doesn't have, just because he's got the number 3 or the number 4 on his back doesn't mean he has to sit there exactly where he's playing. If they're calling a play for a center, 100% get out there. But other than that, let him roam. Let him run around the pack like what Turbo was doing in Origin last year.
Turbo in Origin, yeah.
That was perfect because that added that extra playmaker. Because, look, Joffa's not a playmaker. So if you can add that extra playmaker in the middle of the park to sort of join the two or even scoot out wider and just carry the ball around with Laurie, that means we've got 4 playmakers on the field. The problem is then, are we all in sync? Are they all thinking the same thing? But I just think with the defensive calling in the center of the park, like I really just don't think Adam would be up to it, especially coming back from an ACL. That's what worries me the most. Would you throw him there and just get him to tackle? I wouldn't. I'd definitely throw him in the centers.
Defensively, you could just have him defend as a center and attack as a 5'8". You don't have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get him to just roam around the back and just float where he wants to and make plays.
Either way, he's got to be there somewhere.
100%. He has to be in the team. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Like,
what are we at? Round 7. He's due back, what? Round
14.
12? 14.
Round 14.
Yeah, 14. He's about halfway back.
Okay. Right, on to our Lord and Savior, Jackson Hastings. He scored 6 points. Boys, three conversions from
Gutsy.
From Jacko. And the stare down at the ground.
I
didn't notice that
great.
live, but the one that hit the post too, man, he was 3 inches from being the game winner again this week. Outside of his boot, he had 23 runs for 145 meters, which is pretty good for a halfback. And I can't remember. So that's probably, if Brooksy made 50, 60 meters from his run, I don't think Jackson Hastings had any, he's earned that. 23 runs for 145 meters is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
29
he's run the most out of anyone.
That's a halfback. That's crazy. But 4 tackle breaks. He had, what else we got in there? 15 tackles, 1 missed. He's kicking, as I said, the
Kolomatangi try.
Yeah, that was the only one he missed.
Yeah, it wasn't his, from memory. It was the forward inside him's fault, wasn't it? Or was it just all on?
No, it was outside him. Gildar came up too quick.
Okay. 15 kicks, 483 meters of kicking from Jackson's boot, a forced dropout, 4 bombs, couple grubbers, and no errors. Aaron, pretty schmick looking stats from Jacko there. Pretty good comment from Rose of Oz. Said best halfback for the Tigers since Scott Prince. Hard to argue that. I'm trying to think who we've had in between.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. Go Az.
Yeah. Definitely a great performance. I just want to go back to one of the stats you went past there, Josh. Go over into the receipts column for a sec.
The receipts? Did we get a refund on him? Sorry,
you might as well get into those while you're a dad. So
that's it. I'm 19 months in now. So
plenty of practice.
Receipts. He had
102. He touched the ball 102 times in the game. And I think passes. I saw an article that's last week or after Easter Monday that had, I think, something like 92 receipts. It was somewhere in the 90s. He's got his hands all over the ball. Like, his fingerprints are all over both of these games that we've won. And another thing, how good is it having a player who can kick those sideline conversions again? We haven't had one of those
Someone
since
said that earlier. Sorry,
Paddy Richards.
Comment. Yeah, he's Paddy Richards and Scott Prince in one person with the with the off-field niceness of who's the nicest West Tigers player off the field ever? Dean Hallitau. We'll go Dean Hallitau. Yeah, he's just the absolute blessing. And as Rachel put here, such a leader, speaks so well, always talking, directing on field. Rob, man, how many more compliments can we give this bloke? He's only been back 2 weeks.
I'll give him another compliment, guys. I think all great players just seem to look like they've got another second or two extra before they have to do something. He never looks rushed. You know, there was one play in the first half, I just freaked out. Someone charged on him on the last tackle, charged up on him, and he just stepped to the left, as cool as a cucumber, put a kick in, and it just dribbled into the in-goal area. And it was just a perfect play. You know, like I said, to be hypercritical, I would say the last 6 or 7 minutes, I wished he kicked to the corners instead of going for those field goals, to be brutally honest. But other than that, how can you fault the guy? He's the reason we've won 2 games. As good as everyone's played, he's the missing ingredient, the leader that we've missed. He digs into the line. He straightened our attack. We had an attack that couldn't get around anyone 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now, like, we're running straighter, like, you know, even though it wasn't him, the scrum plays. Like, we've just learnt now to, even the guys that aren't involved, you know, like, it's not Jackson Hastings on the right, but that Nofaluma try in the corner. That's because they've learned from Hastings, straighten the play up, run your lines right and make those extra holes. Like, he's just such an influence, and he's so humble. You know, he's giving all the compliment to Brooksy and his teammates. When he does something good, he even celebrates with the crowd. You know, he acknowledges the crowd. He claps it. He claps the crowd when he comes back out for the second half. He hangs around for half an hour doing autographs. He's just become a cult hero. And you know what? He is our best halfback since Prince. And I'll say that because I always thought Rob Louis was a 5'8". As well as Rob Louis played, he was a 5'8" that just had to play 7. But yeah, he's everything we've wanted, guys. And to be brutally honest, he's built like a lock forward. That's how talented he is. He should be playing lock, but he's a great game manager, and he's going to be our halfback for as long as he wants to be a West Tiger.
Shane, the receipts, as Aaron pointed out, touching the ball, basically every play going through him, being such a good guy off the field. Is there another athlete that you can think of in world sport that that's kind of similar? He plays with the same team that we go for elsewhere.
Good old Nikola Jokic.
He is Jokic-like. It is very Jokic-like.
To me, like, look, personally, I believe he's the best player we've had in 10 years. I really do. I really
best signing, you mean, Shane? Best signing?
No.
Best player?
I think
better
better
than Golden Boot Benji.
Look,
that was, I guess that's 11 years ago. So yeah.
Look, Benji back 05 and through there, like, look, hands down, Benji, best player. But in the last 10 years, we haven't had this. This is what we have been missing, and this is what we have needed. We've needed someone that can literally direct the troops, and we've had no one. Benji came back and couldn't do it. Just could not do it. Brooks tried for years, could not do it. He just makes everyone better. And we haven't had a player that makes everyone better. It doesn't matter who is on the field. Everyone is better. Yes, better than Tedesco. Because Tedesco, yes, he was good. But he didn't lift the players like Hastings lifts our players. We have a worse pack than Tedesco had. We had worse players than Tedesco played with. And have a look at what he's done. Like, Tedesco is a freak, don't get me wrong. But I'm not talking just playing ability. What he's doing strategic-wise is better than Tedesco ever did for us. Tedesco could run plays. He was wild. Look, he's amazing. But Jacko's just doing stuff that I haven't seen a player for our team do for a very, very long time. And it's a breath of fresh air. To me, he's a cult hero for us. Let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of people doubting him, literally like doubting him. See, look, he said he didn't lift him, but he carried. Well, what do you think Hastings has done? have a look at the last few games, mate. We have literally been horrible. He has lifted and put the whole team on his back
Shane,
and
I agree
made
with
us
both of you.
win
I agree
against
with both of you.
top 8 teams. When do we beat top 8 teams like that? We don't. We'll just fall over in the last second half. No, don't worry about it. He's brought 80 minutes of fight to this team, and we haven't had 80 minutes of fight in forever.
Rob?
Like, that's just me.
I
couldn't say more.
I accept the logic behind what Shane's saying in terms of lifting people and stuff like that, but I can't. I'm not going to say he's the best. I'm not going to say he's in the best 5 players we've had in 10 years. So, but I get what Shane's saying, and I think Shane's saying that because we've had one halfback in 22 years, and we've been missing a halfback. And we had a dominant hooker that used to carry our team that never had a halfback. In Robbie Farah. We've had Gareth Ellis, we've had Tedesco when he was 3 meters faster than what he is today. So I kind of accept what Bryson's saying there. I'm a bit in terms of best players, but I mean, I understand why Shane's carried away with the euphoria of this because we've just gone from being nothing to being something. So I get what Shane's saying about making other players better around him and what's more important for the team. I really do get that. So I'm not disrespecting what you're saying, Shane. I don't think he's the best player we've had in 10 years, but you know what? If he does this for the next 10 or 12 games and then next year, we might be saying he is. But I think now on a 4-game sample, I don't think we can say that, but I accept your excitement and I think we're all bloody excited, mate. He's a great person off the field. He's a great player on the field and he's adding so much to our club. So, not putting him down or anything, but I accept why you're carried away with it.
Let's be honest. He's added more off the field than anyone else has in a long time. I don't remember people putting in like this. This is what I'm saying. Like as a player, I'm talking as a whole. Yeah. Not what we see on the field. Everyone's like, Tedesco's better on the field. Yeah, but he talked like a spastic off the field. I love him, but some of his interviews were horrible. I loved him, and man, he was a weapon. But off the field, he didn't do what he's done. No one's walked in and had Brooksy's back like this guy's had Brooksy's back. Yeah. To get the best out of Brooks, all we've needed to do is blow a bit of fucking wind up his ass. That's literally all we've had to do. And that's all Jacko's doing. Look how good he is. Look how good he is. Has anyone ever said, look how good he is? No, that hasn't really happened. It's like, how shit is he? That's what we've sort of had. So, like, I'm not talking just as in playing ability. I'm talking as a whole.
As a whole, yeah, okay.
What we have is the best player we've had in fucking forever, dude. Like, I can't even remember someone who did off-field stuff this well, lifted players this well, played this well.
And he's not in our top 5 captains.
He's the whole package, and that's it. He's not even in the top 5 for our captains. And you know what he's on? He's on fuck all money because this is a lifeline to him.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Shane, we've got to extend his contract ASAP. Like, I think that's
Gavin,
absolutely.
I agree with Gavin.
That. So,
what's he saying there? If he keeps
he's saying we're going to throw the book at keeping him. What will he demand next contract? So $1 million a year.
I don't think he'd demand that, but he's kind of worthy of it at the moment. Geez, like game-winning field goals and setting up Brooksy for, he's even hit the post guys and missed a goal just so Brooksy could be the hero. Okay, so like how selfless is that, guys? Come on.
Yeah, he obviously he can sign for another team come November. So if he plays like he is. Firstly, what Shane said, if he plays like he has the last 2 games and does that the whole year, I mean, you just about have to say he's the best since Prime Benji. If he does that week in and leads us somehow to, I mean, we're only 2 points out of the top 8, so it's not.
Yeah, Prime Robbie. As I said, look,
Prime Robbie was around. Prime Robbie and Benji. That was
But Prime Robbie was there every week.
Imagine Robbie with him. Imagine Robbie with Jackson. Like. It would be scary stuff. Like, I don't think it'll be
next year. So
that's it. That's it.
The thing too, guys, like we're saying, he's made Brooks better, etc., etc. What's making Brooks better is that Jacko's got the steering wheel now. Brooksy's not playing any differently. He just doesn't have to make that huge decision or the big moment for us. Like, he's just playing his game. But instead of having to steer the ship around, Jacko's doing that. And Brooksy's just being Brooksy. He hasn't done anything differently. He's still running, he's still passing, he's still tackling, he's still doing some kicking, but it's just like the weight's been lifted off him. So Jacko's just taken the more of the responsibility. That's all. I don't think Brooksy's playing any worse to what he did. It just looked worse because Brooksy couldn't guide a team around on his own. That was the thing. So
yeah, but it's
Jacko's
also confidence. Confidence as well. I really do think Jackson gives Brooks a lot of confidence when he's playing next to him.
I accept that 100%.
I believe that them two together, I think now that Jackson does have the reins to the team, I think Brooks has that pressure off him, but also getting blown up. Like, look how good he is. Look how good he played. He was the best player. And look, let's be honest, he probably was one of the best players last week. This week, I wouldn't say so. A few silly passes, but I couldn't put it past Brooks last week. I was impressed. And instead of just doing midfield bombs like he was doing because he was freaking out and didn't have time to really think about what he wanted to do, have a look at his kicks now. He's punching them into the corners. He's finding grass. His bombs are spiraling. He's doing stuff that we sort of haven't seen Brooksy do in a long time. Like Brooksy's putting grubbers through. Like, it's very rare that he was putting grubbers through. Yeah. So I think having Jackson there, like, has just really pushed him to realise, look, cool, I don't have to think about everything now. I can just play my game. And that's all he's doing. He's playing his game, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, to answer Nick's question about how much is he worth, I reckon he's worth about $800K a year. On the form he's shown the last 2 weeks, sign him up for 3 years on 2.4. I'm sure he'd love that considering on what he's on now, but he could demand more. But I think 800 would be about a fair figure for me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
He'll be 28 years old at the start of his next contract. Would you throw him 4 years? So 28, 29, 30, 31. I think.
Yeah, if he plays like anything like he's done the last fortnight over the next 2 seasons, of course. It could be. I'm not a fan of 4-year contracts, but why not?
Yeah, so 4 years, 4 times 8. What's that? 3.2 mil over 4. Aaron, would you throw that at Hastings come November?
I probably would. Yeah. Especially if he keeps it up, you could maybe even bump him up to 850. But he's definitely playing like he deserves those big bucks. We want to see it consistently, but I have no doubt that we're going to. That's been the main issue with the club, is the consistency, and he's bringing that in spades. Well, it's only over 2 weeks, but he has brought it in spades. Just the receipts in the 2 games he's played as a halfback, it's almost 200 in 2 games, and you never ever see that. Even hookers never really have that many touches in a game. So his fingerprints are all over the games that we've won. Just want to see him keep going. He's loving it. The fans are loving it. He's absolutely a cult hero. I have a feeling all 3 of you guys heard the cheer that went up as soon as his name was announced before the players ran out on Saturday night. He got the loudest cheer I think I've ever heard for a player, except maybe Robbie.
Robbie's return, yeah.
But yeah,
Josh, do you want to read that comment out from Bryson? Because I think that's really, really poignant.
Yeah, so he's basically saying that I think the reaction to Hastings' performances have been amplified to just how bad our sevens have been for the last 10 years. So basically, where he's in terms of the West Tigers halfbacks, he's been amazing, but not to get ahead of ourselves.
The receipts and the stats tell that that's not just because our other halfbacks have been bad. It's because he has literally been that good.
Yeah, I think it's both. You're right.
The statistics tell us that, and also kicking goals, how he's kicking goals. Like, stats don't lie. Like, yeah, look, if we were blowing up and he wasn't doing half of what he was doing, you'd be like, oh, look, the stats say he's pretty bang average. But I believe that the hype's worth what he's doing. Like, he's performing, and that's the biggest thing. We haven't had a 7 perform like this in ages.
The best thing about sorry, Shane, the best thing about all this that's going on now with the last fortnight is I reckon any NRL player that would have said, no way, like, don't go to the Tigers because, your career's going to be shot if you go there. That's all changed the last 2 weeks, guys. They've seen
100%.
how tight-knit the group is, the love for the players. Like, when Madge cracked the whip 3 times in the box, like, I saw that when I got home. Like, I swear, I actually want to cry now. Like, it just pumps me up so much. Like, the passion he's got for the club, like, you want to play for that bloke. That bloke has had shit put on him for 3 years. And basically he knows the club were about to sack him. And he's just built that siege mentality with the players, kind of like what Des Hasler did in 2011 with Manly when he was on bad terms with the management, but, like, they still won a premiership. I know we're not winning a premiership probably, but it's that same sort of thing. Like, I think players are going to want to come to the West Tigers now. So things are looking up, boys, and we've got a bit of money to spend next year, but we should be looking after those within the club first, and Jacko's got to be snapped up ASAP. And, they're not idiots. I'm sure they know that too. So, well, are they idiots? I don't know.
Are you complimenting our front office
now? There's not many
now?
game managers around. Get it done. Get it done. Lock him up. Let's look ahead.
I think he's the kind of guy too. He's not gonna. He'd be thankful that we've given him his second chance at the NRL and won't jump to another team for the sake of 100K or something. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Just get it done. Don't even let other teams speak to him.
But Josh, we've got to learn from our past mistakes. We didn't snap Tedesco up a year in advance, and the vultures came in. Like, if we'd have been on the front foot with vision up, and knowing where we want to be, we've got to get that right. We can't wait till the nth hour, and you've got to reward players that you think you're going to be your future. Like, don't wait till you know what, we've got him till the end of 23. Let's worry about it in June of next year. Like, the Roosters snapped up Tedesco late last year, 18 months in advance for his next contract. We've got to be smart like that. And just get ahead of the curve. We can't be the stupid West Tigers that we've been for so long, And I'm sure Sheens knows that, and Madge knows that, and they've got the keys now. Like, it's out of Pasco's hand, but it's got to be done, guys. We can't be thinking, when are we going to re-sign him? When are we going to re-sign him? Get ahead of the curve. Get him. We all want him. We know what he can do for our club now.
That's it. Put pen to paper and finish it.
100%.
Nick saying Hastings, Dwayne, and Laurie before November. Are they all off contract the end of next year? Are they all in the same?
Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Laurie only got a 2-year deal.
Yep.
Are we, to go back on Dane Laurie, are we ready to throw him another contract yet? Has he earned a new contract? Aaron, do you reckon, Dane, or would you wait a little longer for Dane? Adam and Jackson, it's a no-brainer. Like, throw them the money, sign them tomorrow. But Dane, I don't know. What are your thoughts? It is hard. Fullbacks are hard to come by at the moment, and the last couple of weeks he's been showing his potential. It sucks that now he goes down injured. We don't want to go down injured ever, but those 3 guys, would you lock up ASAP as?
Hastings, Dwayne, absolutely. In a heartbeat immediately. Laurie, I'd give him until the end of the season. We want to make sure that we see what we saw from him last year a lot more consistently. He didn't show it in the first few rounds of this year. He started showing it now. He's obviously injured again. So wait till he comes back from his injury, see how he goes then. And like, that's the good thing about the players coming, like, being available to other clubs in November. We still have the rest of this season, finals included, to see how he's going and then start looking at putting pen to paper. Whether we make finals or not, there's still going to be a good 4 to 6 weeks at least post-season where you can start sitting down with him and absolutely looking at a new contract. But I'm of the mindset that he in particular still has to earn his because of the way he started this season. You could put it down to the fact that he came back from an injury, and he's going to be coming back from another one. So see when after he gets his body right after this MCL injury, and then see how he's going later in the season. I've got another question for you guys on Hastings as well.
Sure.
Obviously, he's in our He's not in our leadership group, but he's unofficially a leader of this team. Do you guys reckon we'll see him officially in the leadership group come the middle of the year or next year at the latest?
I reckon he'll be there. He has to be.
He has to.
Yeah, there's no ends. Yeah, there's no other way. He is the leader of the team. Whether he has the C next to his name or not, it doesn't matter. He literally is the leader of the team. And
the team are following him.
That's it. And when Adam gets back, I want to see co-captains. I really do. I believe those two deserve it, and they'll work very well together.
Rob?
Yeah, exactly what Shane said. You don't need the C next to your name to be a leader. Adam showed that last year with all his leadership qualities, and Jimmy Tamo was captain. Definitely either co-captains or one of them captain, one of them vice captain. And knowing how selfless Jacko is, he'll probably say, Adam, you be captain, I'll be vice captain. But as long as they both steer the ship together, we're blessed that we've got two blokes that, love the club and are good leaders. So they definitely be my two captains. We don't need anyone else there. And just on Jimmy, there are talks that he wants to play another season. Based on what he's done the last couple of weeks, I'd happily have that as well.
100%.
So he'll be.
We've gone back to Jimmy, vintage Jimmy.
Yeah. One. He's on. His contract was for 800 over 2 years, or 350 over 2 years each year.
Yeah, I think it was 700 over 2 years.
Yeah, 700. So probably looking at 250 for last year from Jimmy, maybe 200. I mean, he's off the field. His leadership alone is probably worth that. Whether or not you play him 24 games, if he can, maybe not. But at that price, yeah, I think you got to keep him around the club.
Well, that's it. We've got a lot of young forwards as well coming in. So you sort of want that older head to show the experience. Like he's won a grand final. He's been there, done that. He played in a grand final a couple of years ago with a very young team. He's a good boy. He's a good bloke to have around the young boys. So I'd say definitely if he does want that extra year, just offer him 250, 300 a year for the year and we're sweet.
Yeah, and if he plays 12 games out of 24, that's
it.
Sweet.
It's good.
Yeah,
we don't need him to play every game. We need him there for the back noise, getting the young boys right. That's what we need him there for.
You just can't be a club of kids all the time.
That's it.
Righto, moving on. Well, Jimmy's next in line in jersey number order, so that kind of works well. So Jimmy, my scroller's not working. There we go. 47 minutes from Big Jimmy. He had 17 runs for 159 meters. He had 65 kick return meters. He was definitely run off the back fence off those kickoffs.
Yeah, there were a few back fence moments there.
60 post contact, which is number one in the team. Tackle breaks, 1.
Other than Ken.
Ups. The play the ball speed, again, he's the only Luke Garner. Oh, Luke Garner's not a forward. He's in centers. He's the only forward under 3 seconds for the play the balls. Shane, I think I said it to you during the game. He very rarely gets put on the ground. He's almost always playing the ball on his feet.
Yeah, well, I remember there was one point we were watching Cameron Murray just hang off his legs. He had 2 boys on top of him, Cam Murray hanging off his legs, and they just couldn't drop him. He just kept trudging along and just stayed on his feet. That's it. Cam Murray just had to literally drop off and roll onto the deck. He played the ball. And we were just looking at each other like, how does he not drop? He just does not drop. Or if he does, he gets to his knees, stands up, plays the ball. So, look,
30 tackles, none missed for Jimmy.
Well, he's playing out of his skin at the moment. I couldn't be happier with how he's playing. He's playing 47 minutes. Last year, he was lucky to play 35 for a lot of it. So he's playing, he's upped his minutes by quite a lot. So I'm stoked. He's playing really well.
We've talked about Jimmy a lot. We'll go on to Zane. 43 minutes from Zane at the other starting front row position. So 14 runs, 112 meters, 42 post contact. Scrolls on delay. My bad. What else? An offload from Zane. 24 tackles, 1 missed, and no errors from Zane this week. Rob, that one of Zane's better games.
Mate, all our middles have lifted, Josh. Another good game from him. I don't think he had an error last week as well either, did he? Jimmy Tamo, best 2 games of his Tigers career the last 2 weeks. Yeah, look, he's going good. I mean, he's not a world beater, but he's ripping in. Can't ask for more than that.
Aaron, thoughts on Zane?
One of his better games. No errors is something we like to see. He muscled up. He played the longer minutes as well, longer than he'd normally play, and adequately filling in for Big Stefano until he comes back. Hopefully he can keep it up and get on a bit more of a roll over our next few games.
Yeah, you got to think former West Tigers media manager Dan Talentai had a great tweet. He basically mentioned every position that the Tigers are missing in terms of injuries at the moment, and it's just like,
and also what we lost during the game.
Yeah, include like we're now missing what Dane Laurie, our fullback, our Tommy Talau is a starting centre, Adam Dwayhe is a starting half, Stefano is our best front rower, Sean Blaw, arguably one of our best second rowers.
Kepoa.
Ajay Kepoa.
Missing 3 centres.
Well, I've got the tweet here, and Dan mentioned every team has injuries, but West Tigers currently are without their fullback. Dane Laurie went out. Both starting centres, both replacement centres, starting hooker, starting edge forward, replacement edge forward. So they'll be Blaw and then Tuolangi. And we've also got starting front row forward in Steph. So that's you've got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players out in a 13 who all start.
That's half
in a
the
13 team. Half a team. There's only 4 other players.
Half a 17-man squad. half a 17-man squad. Yeah,
like they're our starting players, man, and like we've got 4 players that would have been starting otherwise. So it's just it's pretty wild.
On to Luciano Leilua, 80 minutes, 11 runs, 100 meters, 45 post contact. My God, he was just carrying people on his back, literally. Again, 3 tackle breaks, 11 hit ups, an offload. Only 1 offload. The offloads are low this week. Literally, not there's anyone with more than 1 offload. 23 tackles made, 1 missed, and no errors. Man, that blank sheet of errors is just beautiful to see. Gave away 1 penalty. As thoughts, I'll let you go first with Luch. Thoughts on Luch?
He passed the ball a couple times as well. That's always good to see.
The boys have been critical of him for that. Yep.
Yeah, me especially.
Another good game. He just kept carting players up the field on his back as he normally does. He's such a handful. You can see the effort and the energy he puts into those post-contact meters. You see him pumping the legs. He just keeps on trucking no matter how many plays he's got on his back, and they just struggle to bring him down. And that's been something that's been really important for us since he signed. We've gotten so many more quick play the balls, good dummy half runs from either Lids or Simpkin because of him making those sorts of carries. And to be honest, the last player we had before Luch that could do something like that, even though he was a front row forward instead of a second rower, would have been Woodsy. The way he'd turn his back on the tackler and he'd look for an offload, but if he couldn't get it, he'd just keep trying to walk backwards as far as he could. and Luch doing that as a second rower, he's doing pretty well. I'm definitely going to miss him at the end of the year.
Rachel mentioned, Shane, the captain's challenge. So that was when, who was it, tried to claim, had his hand on the ball to play the ball?
I think it was Jai Arrow that tried to play the ball.
Yeah. So that was
massive.
Thoughts?
That was awesome.
And Shane, other thoughts on Luch this game?
Oh man, look, he's just showing up week in, week out, and to be honest, he's getting better and better. He's one of the comments that came up before was he's learning when to pass the ball and when not to pass the ball, when to go for the offload, when not to go for the offload. He was going for those. Yeah, that's it, Gavin. He was going for those really silly, low percentage offloads where you'd sort of like try to throw it around the back of someone, or like you'd be in a tackle and try to just pop it out the back, really just in a real stupid position where you never know where it's going. You don't know if someone's there. You're just hoping. And he's not doing it anymore. He's passing the ball. His runs are always damaging. Just need to get him to hit some holes because, man, he'll score some bloody tries.
Good point here from Rose of Oz. Rob says Luch hasn't had to do as much offloading because of the halves are creating decent attack anyway. So taking a lot of pressure off Luch because he knows that if he just plays the ball, something will happen anyway. It's just the desperate football, all thanks to Jackson Hastings, the desperate football from everyone's just gone out the window.
Yeah, it certainly has. I still like to see more of those offloads because it just does open up, a little bit more second phase and disorganises the opposition defence a bit more. But Luch has been our rock, guys. He's our forward leader. He has not had a bad game this year. As Aaron said, I'm going to miss him, man. He's, he's a bit of a cult hero, our Ric Flair boy. So it'll be sad to see him go. But I tell you what, I think I know from having spoken to his manager, there's some unfinished business left at the Tigers this year, and he's the one that's been saying that. And I just thought he was crazy, but yeah, he's got some big, some high hopes for our season, which is fantastic. So good on him. He's showing it. Love him.
Papa Lee, he had quite the game for Para over the weekend. Imagine we had both of them at the same time. It's just
you can't have everyone, but I'm a bit of a loyalist anyway. Even if someone's slightly better than our guy, I'm always going to stick with our guy.
We say that this year. We'll see next year if what Papa's like. But yeah, I love Luch as well. He's just for a long time was a flower in a pot of dirt, really. But
I wonder if there's a chance of still keeping him, even though he's signed.
Tim Bolton style.
Well, you look at North Queensland. They've got Taumalolo at lock. They got Nanai and they got Lukey. They're not going to let go of. They're not going to want to let go of both of their second rowers. Are they really going to get Luciano there to play off the bench?
Are you saying that they might not be able to afford him?
No, I'm not saying they can't afford him. I'm saying where
they can't fit him.
Where are they going to fit him? Are they going to actually drop their two second rowers that they both scored a try each on the weekend for North Queensland? Are they actually going to play one of them off the bench to fit Luch in? It's a great problem for them to have. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. You just never say never.
How many years did he sign with them for?
I think he signed for 3.
How old is he now?
He's still young.
I think he's 26. 25.
Maybe younger. We got him from St. George pretty early. He's only really shown his best football the last, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, true.
St. George were definitely underutilising him based on what he's done for us since he signed with us.
He wasn't fit, Aaron. Madge works everyone's asses off. He went from being half a game Marty to a full game player. So his fitness has gone up, his minutes have gone up, and look at him now. He busts 80 minutes out. Even when he's injured, he never comes off the field. He just shakes it off and keeps trudging on. He's a tiger, mate. Not a cowboy, he's a tiger.
He's 26 in June as well.
He's still young.
Play your 3 years at the Cowboys and come back, Luch.
Exactly. Come back.
Yeah, we said that.
Or leave a year early and come back anyway.
He never wanted to leave Sydney, guys. He wanted to stay in Sydney. So I wouldn't. I don't know. I reckon if the Cowboys back row fires up, we might, something might change there.
Joe Gowie, 63 minutes. He started at the 13 position, 16 runs, 107 meters, 46 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 16 hit ups. Come on. What else for Joffa?
Whereas his
I missed that.
I think his tackles are back.
46, you said earlier in the show,
I
wasn't it, Shane?
I think it was 43
41.
tackles.
41 and none missed.
Yeah, 100%.
Shane, you're a big fan of Joffa. Thoughts on his game in this one?
Well, I think it was about midway through the second half. I just said to Josh, Joffa has literally been the marker for 4 tackles straight. And he was literally jumping out of marker, tackling the next bloke. Bang. Standing in front, the guy would run. Bang, he gets him again. And it was 4 tackles in a row. And I'm just sitting there going, this dude's he's on a mission. Like, he's on a mission and he's there to hurt someone. And I loved it. His runs, like, he's almost doing half of his run meters in contact. Like, that's ridiculous. He's like hitting them and he's running. See, if he runs 5, he's running 5 with people on him. It's just wild. And to be honest, he's getting better and better and better. The only thing I could say is I want a lock to play 80 minutes. And I'd love for him to get the fitness to play 80 minutes because his defense is up there. Imagine if he's tackling 41 times in 63 minutes. Like, imagine him playing 80 minutes. He'll be up around 60 tackles. So,
Rob, would you like 80 minutes from a lock, or do you think that's a lot of load to ask from? I mean, going off that average, he's played, how many minutes did he play? 63. Was that his minutes?
It's pretty, like, I get what Shane's saying, but if based on those stats, if he's playing 80 minutes, he's going to bust out, 58 tackles or something like that, which might be a little bit too much to ask. Look, I'm going back a week, but I love or 2 weeks. What he said after the Cronulla game is the best thing anyone has said from the West Tigers this year. Better than anything Jacko said, better than anything Madge has said. Everyone got put on notice, the passion that he spoke with, and he's showing it on the field, guys. So yeah, I love him for what he said, and it just shows you how much, like, playing better and improving as a club that means to Joffa. So, full marks to him, guys. We've got a good young crew.
As anything boys have missed there with Joffa?
One thing I noticed, particularly in the second half, a lot of the time when he was given the ball, he started off very flat-footed. I'd like to see him, if he could get a little bit more of a running start at some defensive lines, see what he'd be able to do there. Did any of you guys notice that as well, or was it just me?
No, I noticed a lot of our forwards were getting flat foot passes. They were sort of standing still as they got passes. I think Josh and I spoke about it at one point. We're just like, man, everyone's just standing still. And there was just little passes where none of the boys were getting a run on. To be honest, at the end of the game, it's fatigue. You don't want to be running on if you're not the ball. And that's all it is. It was fatigue at the end of the game. The second half, the boys were tired.
I mean, coming off a 5-day turnaround as well.
Well, they had 8 days, we had 5. It's a 3-day extra difference.
And look at the size of their pack. Like, you got to stop Junior Totola. You got to stop all of them. Just literally the whole pack is fucking gigantic. So,
yeah.
But you can understand why they were tired.
The effort by our forwards is amazing on the weekend, considering, like you said, looking at the team list last week, it was the 4-pack. You're like, Jesus, like, our boys are going to, they're in for a battle here. And they stepped up. They did look gassed towards the end, but they found that heart that got us home. So, Alex Seafarth was the other back roller, even though he was wearing number 18. Again, just let players choose their own numbers. 11 runs for 76 meters, post-contact meters 30, 1 tackle break, 10 hit-ups. But the big stat for him, I'd offload for Alex as well, 49 tackles from the Big Red with just 2 missed. Any errors? And he did have 1 error. Aaron,
was that
thoughts
pass?
on Alex Seetharf's game?
For his was it his first game as a starter? I think it was. He played pretty darn well. He wouldn't have had a lot of notice letting him know he was going to be starting, but he stepped up and played a pretty solid game. Workhorse in defence there as well, only missing the 2 tackles. Coming up against some of the players that he was coming up against. I'm really bloody impressed with him. I love watching Big Red play.
Especially
Rob?
after playing 5 minutes a game for a
Shane,
little while. I was playing only 5 to 7 minutes a game for the rest of the season, like unless someone got injured. So for him to come in and play 80 minutes and put in 49 tackles, like props. It's a good effort.
So his previous starting, so he started at lock against Penrith last year when we won 26-6. And then he started at lock in our loss to South round 16 last year. Oh, and he started the second row against the Warriors as well.
Okay, so not his first second row start, but
Rob, anything to add on?
I just think, look, I mean, it's hard for his attack to be great when you're doing 49 tackles and he hasn't been playing many minutes, as you said. I just think he's the sort of guy that the more footy he plays, the better he'll be. So now that he's had a full game under his belt, I probably in another week or 2, I think we'll see a bit more out of him in attack and a bit better. Because I noticed last year, like he was peaking by Magic Round. Like he played unbelievably on Magic Round night. And he just hasn't had enough game time for me. So the fact that he had a full game on the weekend's great. So, yeah, he just needs a bit more footy because he's a good footballer.
On to Jacob Little, who played in the 19 position, but obviously played the game at hooker. He played 70 minutes. When did Lids come off?
he went off for a HIA.
HIA, that's right. So that was a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Maybe the rest was a free interchange for Lids and gave him a little bit of energy towards the end. So he had eight runs for 74 meters, 22 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, 7 runs for 66 meters. He touched the ball 109 times, but obviously that's from dummy half. 49 tackles, 4 missed, and no errors. Shane and Rob, you both said you never want to see him in first grade again. Was that a little bit harsh? I thought Lids kind of showed
with the performance
player.
we saw, it wasn't harsh. He was horrible. And you had young Simpkin come in who has barely played and put on a masterclass. Like, really, he did. How can you know what I mean? Like, how could we say any different when we just saw Little play shit for weeks? It's like, hats off to him. He played excellent. He did those runs out of dummy half. He was doing those 3 or 4 steps out and running forward, attacking the line before the passes. He was actually, he did definitely slow down. Later in that first half, after he came back on after the HIA, and then towards the end of the game, he did start to slow down with his service out of dummy half. But look, he did a try-saving tackle. He put in. That's all I want to see. I just want to see him put in. And every single player on the field the last 2 games has put in.
Rob?
Yeah, look, on Jacob Little, like I was harsh, but I try to be really constructive about my assessment, because the first thing I said before I bashed him a couple of weeks ago was he's a courageous bugger. I've never questioned his courage. I never questioned his courage. I told you when he got smashed against the Gold Coast, I didn't think he was going to come back on, and he came back on. I've never questioned how courageous he is. We all remember his 90-metre run at Leichhardt Oval against Penrith last year. But the two performances against the Gold Coast and Cronulla were abominable. And I didn't want to see him in first grade again. And, you know, good on him for proving us wrong. But the thing is, he needs to do that every week. His service can be better from dummy half. I still felt our forwards weren't receiving the ball almost in line with the marker, if you know what I'm saying. It's like he's passing a little bit too far back on occasion, where Jake Simpkin gets you on the front foot a bit better. But at the end of the day, guys, the biggest moment in the game was when he made that tackle just before halftime. And it wasn't a turning point. It actually stopped a turning point. Because that would have been a turning point if South score there, and I think they probably go on to win the game. So full marks to him. You know, he played great. And I'm just going to call every game as I see it. If he plays shit against St. George, then I'll tell you he played shit against St. George. We don't enjoy bagging our own players. We love all the players, but you got to call him out, man. Like some of the things he did against Cronulla and Gold Coast, you need to watch the Cronulla game, Josh. It was embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing. But to his credit, I mean, he's seen Jake Simpkin have a good game, and he's lifted. And you know, he's not smooth, he's not silky, but he's just courageous, man. And he guts it out. And mate, he's all heart. Like, you know, good on him. Good on him for proving us wrong. You know, and you know, he can basically say, well, fuck you, Shane and Rob. Like, you know, I do deserve to be in first grade, and that's what it's about. And if we can say something, and I hope he, like I said, I actually hoped he didn't hear our criticism. But if our criticism helped in any way, then, you know, shouts to Shane and Rob you know, for lifting his game, for making him lift. But it was, you know, great to see. Good on him.
I see his post-game videos on the website. I'll watch to see if he mentions you guys in there. Aaron, any thoughts on Lids?
Not anything that hasn't been said. Yeah, I was really impressed with that rundown, because he just didn't give up on that chase. I honestly thought he was going to be outrun, but he didn't give up, and he made a great try-saving tackle. Yeah, I definitely agree that his service out of dummy half got a little bit slack towards the end of the game, but you could tell that he was absolutely gassed. The rest he got from the HIA would have done him some good there, but he was definitely struggling to pump out the rest of the game in probably that last 15 or so minutes. But he still did a good enough job to get our halves in a good position. We were losing a lot of meters in a few of those later sets, but he hung in there. He kept going, and he was on the field when we won. So,
right,
and I bet he loved it.
Thanks, Az. Sorry to cut you off a little bit short there. Jock Madden played 12 minutes, so he was in the number 14. He basically only came on for that HIA stint, I believe, that 12 minutes, 12 plus 70.
And the end came on like right at the end.
That's right.
He went for the field goal and got ran down.
Yeah, that was the one that got charged down where we got the accidental offside off him.
That's right. He had 5 runs, 27 meters. His stats are all pretty small, the amount of minutes. Any quick thoughts on Jock, guys? As we're running pretty long there.
Got some balls on him.
Yeah, guys, I thought he had a great little cameo. That field goal that got charged down, I reckon, was going over. I don't know if you remember, Jimmy Tamo popped a ball to him after, like, he passed the ball to Jimmy and he got the ball back from Jimmy and made a little scoot that got us a little bit closer to the goalposts. So I just think he wasn't on the field for long, but he provided some good impact, and he got straight in the game this time. He didn't look like the week before against Para. He looked lost. He looked like he didn't belong there. Like, what am I going to do? This week, there was no fear. He just got out there and played his role and did a great job.
Az, any quick thoughts on Jock?
I agree 100% with Rob. Most of the games where he's come on rather late, I think including his debut in Magic Round last year, he just came on. He looked lost, not sure what to do, not sure how to fit in, but he just got straight into his business on Saturday night, and the involvements he had were good.
Big balls, Jock. That's all I have to say.
Jock. Okay.
He went for it. He went for the kick, and it got ran down. But look, I'm telling you, that was going in. He hit that so sweet. It was just unlucky that he got fingertips to it, man, because he had the balls to go for it. And you know what? a second before, he would have got it. So props to him for going for it.
Would have
Big
stolen
Alex 12,
Brooksy's moment.
52 minutes. Yeah, it'd be pretty selfish of Jock to have done that. 52 minutes from Alex 12. He had 78 runs, 121 meters, 49 post contact, which is about third-ish in the team. He had 1 tackle break, 16 hit ups, and his tackling was again 100 out of 100%. Efficiency 35 and none missed, and no errors from Twoley. Rob, thoughts on Alex in this one?
I think our fan base are probably taking for granted the missed tackles, the lack of missed tackles. Like, we just expect it every week now. So if he actually misses 2 tackles one game, we're going to say he had a bad game, where everyone else is missing 1 or 2 tackles a week. So look, the best part about his game, he's actually lifting in his attack. So, it's not world-class attack, but he'll get there. I could have easily put him in our points in our 3-2-1s this week, but I didn't. But look, like the rest of his teammates, he was outstanding.
Aaron, I might let you do my 3-2-1 tonight. I can't really decide on a 3-2-1 as soon as you. So start thinking about who your 3-2-1s, and I'll count them.
No worries.
As mine. Shane, thoughts on Twoley?
Terminator 12 just doesn't stop. He's running a lot harder. His attack is looking better, and just 100% tackles every week. Like, he literally is a Terminator. He just doesn't stop, and he doesn't stop tackling.
He literally is a Terminator.
I'd love to see
terminating other players in their tracks.
That's it. I'd just love to see him on the field a bit longer, because we know he's got the motor for it. Like, just, he doesn't have to do the attacking stuff. Just leave him on there for his defensive capabilities, because he shores up that middle so well. It's ridiculous. Like, every time he's on, I'm like, yep, sweet, no one's getting through him. And I know no one's getting through him. So if we can just get him playing a little bit longer, it'll be excellent. To be honest, I sort of want him starting. I wouldn't mind seeing him start with Jimmy, because Jimmy's attack is now really starting to come through. And bring on Musgroves for James, and sort of, when I don't know, it'll be hard because Thomas McKaylee's on the bench, and I don't want to see McKaylee and Zane on at the same time. I don't want to see that, because that's minus defense. So that's all right though. Look, Twel's just Mr. Dependable. We can count on him every week. Even when we're not playing good, he's putting up ridiculous tackles. Anything
to add on Alex?
I've just pulled up his stats, the tackles he's made this year. He's made 233 with a tackle efficiency of 99.2%. He's missed 2 tackles in 7 games. He just doesn't miss them. And he's not playing huge minutes. So I absolutely love watching him play too, because like Shane said, you just know that no one's getting through him. They have to go around him. They have to go to the edges. And a lot of the time nowadays, we've got plans for when they try to go around us as well.
When's Magic Round? That's because you said it'll be his first try.
3 weeks.
In Magic Round, 3 weeks.
Yeah, round 10.
We've got the Dragons, and then we've got Manly before we head up there.
Who are we playing up there?
Cowboys
Sunday night.
So Drinkwater's going to drop a bomb and 12 falls on it.
Exactly.
Hopefully Jimmy doesn't steal his try like last year.
Yeah, I mentioned that when we had the season preview show.
Yeah, and
so close, but so far.
Right, Tommy McKaylee, 24 minutes, 3 runs, 13 post-contact meters, 3 hit-ups. Sorry, the computer's slowing on me. And in terms of tackles...
22, none lost, so none missed, so that's good.
So So Tom worked hard in terms of errors. No errors from Thomas McKaylee is pretty big, Shane. Albeit in 23 minutes.
3 runs isn't enough.
Hmm.
He's a big boy and he's fucking strong. Give
That's
him
his
the ball.
weapon.
That's it. Yet his defense looked good. Like he was making a tackle a minute and didn't miss one. So, look, that's excellent. But that's not what we got him on there for. I want to see if he's on there for 25 minutes, make 10 runs. You're only on there for a short amount. Just blow all of your energy on attack. Literally blow all your energy on attack, because that's what we're there. That's what you're there for. You are there for impact, and 3 runs, to be honest, isn't good enough. It just isn't.
Robert, has anything to add on Thomas? Or we can.
No, not really. We can. I'm not sure why his
Yeah.
runs were down, but I'd have to watch the game again to see if that was just the way circumstances worked out or not.
Righto, and last is Ollie Gildart. He had 40. I think he's last, isn't he? There's no other player. Ollie's the last one.
I think that's it.
Yeah, he's the last one.
So Ollie, he played half a game. He came on, obviously, at halftime when Dane went off, and he came into the centres and pushed Stafford out to fullback. 8 runs, 65 meters, 29 post contact, and that's pretty much it from Ollie. Did he do anything else? Anything else from Ollie? 7 tackles, no missed tackles. He did stuff up for one of their tries though, and no errors. Shane, you were big on Ollie at the start of the year. Anything stand out from the Englishman for you?
Look, attacking wise, he's excellent. Like he needs to pass a little bit earlier. Needs to sort of look around. He just needs to scan a bit more, I think. Just figure out where everyone is. But you got to remember, he's had a preseason and he's never played NRL, and NRL is completely different to playing Super League. So you got to remember, like, not everyone from the Super League, especially in the backs, comes into NRL and plays well straight away. It's very, very rare. So I think we've got to give him time, got to give him benefit of the doubt. But he didn't miss tackles. Yeah, look, he did push up when what's his name?
Koloamatangi,
that's it. When he scored his try, he did push up. But other than that, look, we watched it. Like, even we said it a couple of times, Josh, man, like, he's in there making tackles and he's stopping people. So I think he was reading a lot better defensively. He was reading the plays a lot better. He was sticking to his man. That one slip cost a try, which, look, it's very unfortunate, because I think he had a good half. He had a good half of footy. Didn't do too much attacking wise, but defensively, he was definitely solid.
Aaron, any thoughts on Ollie?
Yeah, I agree with Shane. He needs more time in the NRL to actually learn a bit more how to be an NRL player as opposed to a Super League player. Give him the rest of the season, maybe in reserve grade or whatever, and another preseason under his belt going into next year, and see if there's going to be improvement then, because I honestly reckon there will be. He's definitely got what it takes. It's just going to be a matter of bringing it out. But as for Saturday night, he played a solid half. There wasn't really much to fault. He worked his ass off just like the rest of the team did.
Rob, anything to add on Ollie before we get to the 3-2-1?
Yeah, just think he's not going to show his best till next year, guys. He needs a lot more time. He's got great footwork out of dummy half, so like he's really good with his feet. I'm not sold on his reading in defence, guys. Sorry, I think he played well. Like he put in the effort. He had to play a bit of wing. He had to play a bit of centre. I still think he looks like a deer in headlights when a block play is coming at him. So that's just going to take time, guys. I think he's got the ability to be a regular first grader. I don't think he's there right now, but we're probably going to have to throw him in the deep end if Jimmy Roberts is out this week.
Righto. MG Pumps Player of the Year time. Shane, I'll let you go first. It's just have you got your 3-2-1 to sub in for me? You know who you're going to pick? I'll let Shane
I've
go
got
first.
4 players that I need to narrow it down to 3, so come to
Okay,
me last.
I'll let you go last. I'll say this is the one thing you want to go last. Right, Shane, who you got?
Okay, I was going to swap it around, but I'm going to stick to my original one that we put in the chat.
Yeah,
Look, I'm going to go
because I've already typed those
Hastings.
in.
I'm going to go Hastings for 3, Toa for 2, just for the sheer fact that he got switched out. He played a bit of wing, played a bit of centre, played fullback, and you know what? He killed it at all of it. And I was super impressed, especially what I noticed was on attack for Toa that I didn't add in when we were talking about him. On defense, he was standing back, but he was directing traffic, and people were moving. Like he was yelling at people. You could see him pointing, "Go move, fill that gap," and then you know what happens? They'd shift over, and they'd run straight at that gap. And I'm like, "Well, sweet. He's looking at what's going to happen, and he can see where we were having issues." So for him to just get thrown into fullback into the second, like late in the first half, and into the second half, and sit there and just scream his lungs off, setting our defense like that. That's what gave him the 2 points, because I just thought that was super impressive, especially for a bloke who's played 4 games for us or something like that. So yeah, that he got my 2, and Joffa got my 1 point, just because of that set where he was just tackling and tackling and tackling, and I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. I just thought he had such an excellent game. To be honest, I reckon the last 2 games he's been great for us. He's really hitting his straps, and just after what was said after the Sharks game, as Rob brought up before, it's just like, you know that he's in it 100%. There's no hesitations with this team. I think all the boys have bought into it, and he was calling himself out as well as everyone else. And it's, mate, that's a leader. That's someone who you want on the pitch next to you, and you want tackling. He's making 41 tackles in 63 minutes in the centre of the park, and putting up massive post-contact meters. Like, that's what you want out of your forwards. And, mate, he played excellent.
Rob, who are your 3-2-1? And if you're in, for those that have stuck with us in the comments, the stream tonight, drop in the comments what you would have put as your 3-2-1 for this game too. And shouts to all of you for sticking with us for 2.5 hours. Go, Rob.
3 points to David Nofaluma. I thought it was a sensational game from him. I could have given him 3 last week too, so he's really playing out of his skin. 2 points to Jackson Hastings. He's got both hands on the steering wheel. We're not winning without him. I could have given him man of the match, to be honest, but I just, I don't think I could see David Nofaluma playing a better game. And 1 point to our other winger, Kenny Mamalo, being there at the game. I just can't believe how hard he ran at those forwards and made huge impact and post-contact meters. And for someone that was much maligned a fortnight ago, he's absolutely turned it around. And Aaron, I just want to say Josh is doing his best Jackson Hastings now to Luke Brooks by getting you to put his votes in. So I love where Josh was going with that.
I don't want Luciano to be
player,
mad
Josh.
at me again.
You're a team player, buddy.
I am definitely Luke Brooks of this show, but that means I'm going to finish this show strong. But righto, as what are you thinking?
All right, Jacko gets my 3. He was just all over the game. The 102 receipts. He had, like I said before, he just had his hands on everything we did. Hard to go past that. I'm giving. Now this is where I was umming and ahhing, my 2 and my 1. I'm going to give my 2 to Kenny after the effort against the Sharks 2 weeks ago. The way he stepped up in these last 2 weeks, this week in particular, I can't go past it. He's not completely made up for that abysmal effort against the Sharks, but the effort against the Rabbits was a very big step in the right direction. And my 1 to Brooksy, not as over the game as he was in against the Eels, but he stepped up when it counted. He did what he needed to do. He's making better decisions with the ball in hand. So, yeah, I'll give him my 1. And my honourable mention, which was the 4th person that I had to notch it down to 3, was Toa. Just say for the same reasons as Shane had him in his 3-2-1.
I'll agree with all of those. Nice work, saving me there. So it's
A lot of good
two
comments
horse.
coming through.
Yeah, really good comments and mixed bag, like a bit of all of our players that we've picked.
Yeah, it shows how many good players that we've had. So Hastings is running away with it. He's only played, what, 5 games now?
4 games.
4.
He's on 25. Luch is on 15. Brooksy 7. Oh, Ken 8. Brooksy 7. And a couple. And Kelmer 5. So, look, you can get 9 points in 1 week in this. So, yeah, Hastings running away with it. But, yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get points most weeks. So, boys, we're nearly pushing towards 2.5 hours. Almost a Lord of the Rings epic.
All quality, Josh. All quality.
All quality. Unlike the Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
this is a West Tigers epic.
Back to back,
it is
boys.
a West Tigers epic. I would make a Lord of the Rings reference, but I've only seen one of them. But
I've seen
thanks
none.
for everyone hanging in with the stream tonight. Yeah, it's just awesome to be talking about wins 2 weeks in a row against 2 Sydney rivals, and we'll be back Thursday night. I would say we'll let you know at the time. Keep your eye on the YouTube, the Facebook, and the Twitter accounts. And yeah, if you're planning to watch the game next Sunday, if you're not heading to Wollongong, head to West Ashfield on Sunday afternoon. I'm going to try and make it there on Sunday. Yeah, don't know about you boys. You're planning where you're going to watch the game next week, but West Ashfield is the best place to watch it live and loud. So we'll talk more about our game against the Dragons coming up. They looked pretty good against the Roosters today, so it's not going to be an easy win for us at all. So, boys, see if we can get 3 people all in sync. As always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers. That was terrible.
What a mess.
Terrible. Sorry, everyone. See you Thursday.
What a